Okay, welcome back to the second day of our budget hearing work session. I think Chris is gonna give us an update to where we're at.
So for general, you have cut 34,600 today, leaving 346,600 left to cut from the levy funds. So I guess I should say that's not from just general. 34,600 is what you've cut from the levy funds. You've cut 28,100 from general. There was no changes to Cambridge. You cut 6,500 from reassessment. You still have health left to do in the levy funds. And then with the lit public safety, you cut 570,746. Still need to cut 75,236 when you're going revenue to money you're bringing in, and that's when you probably want to stay. There's a little bit of cash value or cash balance in there, but anyway, so there's kind of a recap.
How much was that in lit public safety?
How much left to cut or how much you cut? How much left to go? 75,238.
Okay. Do we want to begin with the clerk's record perpetuation?
What page you on?
That'd be page 30. I think we did something with that.
We visited that already.
Sorry on that.
We added a $16,000 salary. That was.
You still have a few general that you need to look at.
Yeah.
Page 22, 40, child support.
Page 30.
22.
Okay, we'll go to page 22.
Yeah.
Child support, 340 child support.
Longevity.
I guess cut the longevity to begin.
Several things went down.
They got a huge cut in computers.
Well, they requested ARP funds and got funded
For
for.
that, new computers and what have you.
Mhm.
See, there's an office space for it.
It went down a little
Yeah,
Why did telephone go to zero?
because
new telephone system.
they're included in that, the prosecutors, but we couldn't get other ones.
Oh, okay.
And our grants and other stuff. Telephone.
I didn't think we could. get their
Telephone, we pay it because we do their 4D stuff. It goes with all of our
Okay.
stuff. We do all of it together with the clerk, the
Okay.
courts and all that.
So this rent, that is part of the rent with the
From Telsey
prosecutor.
Electric. Mhm.
Mhm.
So,
They
we're
talked
still-
at the commissioner meeting last night about adding on to the courthouse on the opposite
I
side.
forgot, I know we paid
Getting them out there.
enough to probably build a
Absolutely.
small
That's a
building.
responsible thing to do, is try to get them out there.
Mhm.
What is this work insurance for 537?
I don't see anything else.
$537.
$537 for group insurance.
What is that? That's not enough for,
It's not enough to.
Oh, 537, oh my.
Yeah.
It's not life or something, is it? Life
What?
insurance premium,
24,000.
Total budget.
It would be life insurance for all those people.
Last year we only.
Yeah, but what,
$250.
yeah, out of 24,000 additional they needed already?
It's a big call.
We're good.
It is good.
Mhm. Just life.
Hmm?
Just life.
Okay.
so we just take the 1050 off then? And do you see other changes?
What's that? This year's, there's been an additional or adjustment?
Hmm?
You removed it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, I don't want to turn my
You mean
thing
on the group?
Mhm.
Just the
I thought
life,
it was an additional, but it's an adjustment.
right?
on. Going up to 2,000.
What has to do with 50%? Or whatever.
I don't know. I don't see anything. The things I would question went down, so. Side of the-
So,
Look at postage. Going 850, we only use 19,000. Things change great. I don't think it's in year-end statements.
They probably had excess to begin with, and they just haven't used that.
And then they buy it at
Do
the end of
excess
the year
again.
before the rate
I think
increase.
that's what, or someone said that they brought in at the end of the year.
Well, I
The rate
didn't
went
mention
up.
that. Yeah.
I don't know if that's her or them or something. Might be.
City might have changed.
This went down and maybe she increased.
So even before they were.
So we just, I guess we moved the longevity, that would bring us to 124, 752.
Mhm.
Yes.
Down.
Now Kelly, do we get reimbursement in this too?
Yes,
And what is, do you know what the rate is?
66%.
That's what? Okay.
Would entertain a motion
Back
to
there,
accept the afforded child support at 124, 752.
make motion.
Motion by Keith,
A second.
second by Earl. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Where does that
Motion carries
reimbursement
7-0.
go when it comes in?
It's split. And so there's, the clerk has an incentive, and then the 40. I'm not sure how it's actually broken down or split, but I know there's different accounts.
Some salt conservation. We just
That's paid.
stay in order. Page 23.
Should we cut in?
Longevity.
We moved the longevity.
Wonder-
Not
Subscription
much
dues,
cut there.
but subscription.
Longevity.
dues wasn't-
I think maybe they haven't paid it yet. But subscription dues that gets paid later this year.
Okay.
They're paying it every year.
Yeah.
The same amount.
I think that involves that subscription dues. I think it involves some kind of liability insurance too, or some type of insurance. So it's a good setup.
Not sure if we do everything.
I don't remember, but it's a good investment.
The rest of it's all pretty much steady as she goes. Just take off the longevity, so it'd be 51, 235.
Mhm.
And Deer Lake, we can't do that. 235.
Paul said first.
Oh,
Would you entertain a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Paul, second by Stan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0. Guess we'll move on to Parks and Rec. Remove the longevity of 1,700 or 700. Where that came from.
Board members, take that off.
that is,
Well, we said yesterday we weren't
We
gonna
did
do that if
that.
it wasn't required,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm sure there, well, I'm not positive, but I was reasonably sure there wouldn't be a statute saying we gotta pay board members to be on the Parks Board.
What's his group insurance went up? A lot.
Probably,
I think it's his employees. He had one employee probably that didn't have it, then when he hired someone, they took family. You know what happened probably?
I don't know.
man, it's fuel and oil is going up a ton.
I'm just speculating.
It's still not enough for two, but
Maybe it's a single and a family.
mhm.
I think that's what it is. Right.
About the mobile phone,
7,000. Hasn't used that much this year.
It's only 300 for mobile phone.
No fuel and oil. They only spent 1,800 halfway through the year.
I pay for anybody else's mobile phone,
Mm-mm.
so I got to do that too.
Does the county pay for mobile phone?
He gets reimbursed so much because he uses his personal phone for people to contact him on it. So he gets reimbursed for that. Just a portion. How much is that, Kim?
You would like to pay the
$25.
$25 a
$25 a
month.
month.
Did the highway department people get that when they're out? Or they have radios?
They have radios.
Okay.
Well, Steve and them done away with their mobile phones. They're using their personals and not getting compensated.
And radios.
Who drag your radio?
But
Probably more.
how like, when I contact him,
It's
I
your
don't
radio.
have a radio.
Call Steve and have him radio. $300.
What is the monthly amount per meeting, board member doing away with it? They get paid with per diem so much a meeting, you know?
Not all of them. They get this, but not all board members. I just got an email from him on this, so hold on a second.
If we do this one, we're gonna go back and add them for everyone.
Right.
Because I'm personally not for doing for one, not the rest.
Is it the sheriff board on when we had to do?
No, we had to
Sheriff's
take it
Board,
from,
Sheriff's Merit
other
Board
ones.
is state statute. None of the others.
now, I consider the, election board to be different because
Well,
they're
yeah.
working a month, you know,
That's
Yeah, they've got a lot
altogether
of
different
That's-
situation.
several hours a day for a month for some of those people and traveling. That's a little different.
If you don't know, oil, it could probably be cut to 5, I'm not sure, but.
Looks like to me, he's using somewhere 49.18,
Yeah,
49, 42.19.
Can you look up like Calvin Cash or?
I know,
I'm looking.
I know it's went up,
I'm looking
but
to see how many-
Yeah, but
still he hasn't used
He
much of
said,
it.
Calvin
And you know,
Cash,
it's
Brett
mowing season.
Luttring,
That's coming
Warren
to,
Taylor,
Yeah,
Roger Smith,
Yeah,
and Vince,
One that he's holding some bills or something,
whatever.
so. I don't know what he'd have a bill for.
gas and stuff.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4,
Ask for a
5.
big bill for gas.
Well, fuel and oil, I don't know.
He don't
Can
pay
you
his
see how
own
much
bill,
fuel
comes off that
and oil?
This is what the department for his.
Parks and Rec
I think
is used.
postage needs to be struck
I think
too.
we
It's only
should cut,
25
we should
bucks.
cut that down to
So
5,
you
I
want
think,
to
if he's
see
not
how
using
much
it. Looks
they were
consistent
paid.
to 5,
Mhm.
I agree. I think
Agreed.
fuel and oil can be 5, it looks consistent for the last 2 years to
Yeah.
where that. And the fuel's been high for 2 years, so it's not
Yeah.
like it's gotten higher.
Yeah,
Remove board members, remove longevity, cut
Yep.
fuel and oil to 5.
yeah.
Rather the rest of it the same.
Now,
Looking down through, I don't see.
It is the same, I mean, it's right.
Yeah.
I assume he's spending that about,
Been pretty consistent.
okay,
what's the equipment?
Weed eaters, push mowers. Trailer top.
Is that to get paid 125 maybe?
25.
Warren, aren't you on the Parks Board?
120.
Do you receive a payment for being on it?
Mhm.
How much is that compensation? Do you recall?
$25 a meeting.
25?
So they probably have 5 meetings a month, 5 meetings a year, 5 meetings a year.
We should
Right.
reconsider.
He's paid 125 already, so they.
So they paid 100.
You meet monthly?
Yes.
think we gotta.
So they're
get
paid
rid of it.
25 a month.
We done away with the other board members.
Yeah. If it's not statutory requirement, we did away with the rest of them, so.
Okay, those cutting the 1,500, the 700,
Sorry.
5,000.
I know.
Hold on, I got that wrong. We would cut 2,000 there.
Somebody got pepper over there.
Yeah. So you
Everybody's away.
lowered the fuel and oil to 5,000?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
what else?
that's it.
the
And
longevity.
and the board members.
Okay.
So I've got 157.
Facility grounds. What's that?
I got 4.9. What did I add up?
What's
Yes.
facility grounds?
Yeah, keep
Yes.
talking so I can check this.
157, 499.
More
That's what I
grass,
got.
probably.
Why are we paying
Facility
grounds?
groundskeeping and parks maintenance and repair.
Around the courthouse and around here, I think.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
but
what are
that's
we getting
part of their
charged?
pay.
Right.
I would say
I got
for, if
15,580
they need,
down here.
it seems like a lot of money, grass
Can we
seed.
You have a phone number?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You can ask them.
It should be
Chris, can you,
It says on there, what you meant.
25.
can you contact, Greg Hendershot and see what,
I sure can.
please?
Facility groundskeeping?
And parks and maintenance,
What we
park
want.
maintenance and repair.
The
Seems like it's
fuel.
still the same.
and oil.
Okay, I didn't hear that one.
See if they've got
Facility
any.
groundskeeping,
'Cause so far
Parks,
they spent 18.
park maintenance and repair,
See if that's
2 line
increased
items
in
there.
Park maintenance, and herb making.
Okay.
On the hill.
I mean, I know he saved us a bunch of money by replacing that bladder in that tank versus
I think that's
paying
what it
somebody
is.
to be out,
Yeah.
you know. It just seems to me that that's almost like two of the same. Possible, not knowing a better explanation.
Hey, Greg. Hey, I got you on speakerphone here with the council. They're inquiring on what is the difference, and we're looking at the Parks and Rec, general fund, an account. Facility groundskeeping, 3,000. What does that cover? And the parks maintenance and repair, what does that cover?
Okay, the park maintenance and repair covers everything that's park related. If I have to work on the building up there, pumping out the places at Rome and Magnet, anything park related is what the park maintenance and repair is for. The groundskeeping one I inherited when I took over the maintenance duties because of all the groundskeeping and stuff that I had to do here. So that VIP, they get their cut all that right the first of the year. I send them, they get the invoice for all the stuff here at the courthouse that they do with the grass and stuff.
Oh.
The salt that I gotta buy for the buildings to throw on the sidewalks, stuff like that throughout the winter. Anything groundskeeping such as the landscaping, having a trimmed and cut and all that stuff. And actually the groundskeeping one, that's the one they cut, I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they cut like $1,000 out of that then. And normally, that works, but like this year I gotta buy salt yet. I've got another invoice already coming in, so I'm gonna need money to get in that account here probably next month or two anyway.
Right, and we don't buy salt every month, every year. Didn't you and I look that up? We hadn't bought it since like 2019, am I right? Yeah.
Right. We usually buy it by the pallet or several
Yeah.
bags at a time, and then it usually lasts us for quite a while.
Okay, any other questions?
No,
Is that it? Yeah.
that's it.
That's it. Thanks, Greg. Bye-bye.
We've got muddy water.
The fuel and oil so far, they've used 3487.
Cut a 4,200.
So the 5 would cover.
Yeah, because the grass is going down.
Oops.
Okay. Where we at?
I could fix it through 159.
157, 499.
Yeah, that's what I had. I changed it.
157, 499.
Oh, that's why.
So I got.
It's 4,200. Okay. Would you entertain a motion?
I'll make that one.
I'll second.
Motion to stand, second by Kelly. All those in favor of the Parks and Recreation Adjusted budget request to 157,499, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, 7-0. Yes, keep in line with the health.
Mhm.
Chris, can you contact Tara?
Yep.
She requested that when we get to her budget, we contact.
She's out of the, drive-through clinic up there.
Yeah, I got her cell phone number.
Yeah, first of all, we would
I told her I'd
remove
call her
the
herself.
longevity of 3,300. And the rest of these, of course, is.
All right, doll, thank you. Bye. Okay, she'll be right in.
The rest is salary.
How come that roof insurance is so low?
What? Why is it low?
Because there's
Well,
about five
if
employees,
we're figuring 33,000,
Oh,
one.
five employees in that department.
I assume if you have an employee who doesn't have a family plan, you don't budget for it, do you?
I mean, if they know, I guess.
Well, you would know that if you have your existing employees.
Doesn't mean,
Well, they can change, but how would you ever know that? You have to go with what you have, I would think, at the
I'm
time.
sure she knows what.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know how they plan for that. Because things could change all the time. You can ask once, it could change, you know, a circumstance could change, you know.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, how do you, I don't know, how do we expect them to?
You go out
You
of
can't
history, past history last year. That's the only thing you.
Or are
can
you
go
going
by.
on your current participation?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
What
probably,
else can you do?
she's,
Is
they're
that-
going on their.
That's what I
current
mean,
participation.
what are you doing? What is the standard is what I mean.
You have a, what is it, changing, you have an open enrollment,
Life-changing event, you can,
Yeah.
yeah, things can
so
happen.
somebody,
But
they
you
can
can't,
change it, but you can't, you don't know
But
that.
that's no different, like,
I'm asking what's the
Right.
standard?
The
What's the,
standard, I would say that they would,
well,
whatever
we
they
had it
currently
happen within the Parks and Rec
yeah, exactly.
because it was not, and then we had to do an additional with it, so it's just a.
So then you just assume the next year it'll probably stay the same.
You just assume what you got is what you stay.
Cause I don't
And
know
we
if you can
did.
technically ask, you know, to try to budget. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
even appropriate. That's
you just go
good.
back to what the numbers you have there.
It would just be
We'll
good if
share
we
it.
had standards where everybody did the same.
oh, no,
That's some
I'm sure everybody doesn't do the same.
I mean, maybe we can get closer, but no, if we had a standard, then maybe it's
That's your
not their fault.
I would say they use what they
I don't
know.
We're talking about group insurance. When you did that, did you basically just figure out the last year and do a
Yes.
10% increase?
I believe yes, I believe that's the percentage she used. I know we talked to you about that
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Bless you.
Bless you. I got it.
One at a time.
Terry, you're fully
It's
staffed.
not ten.
Yes, with the exception of HFI funding and what that will bring, yes, we are fully staffed.
Okay.
Did you guys get the wage study that I sent out?
As I recall in that, some of them were pretty close to that one midpoint or whatever you had, that average or the, what was it, how was it labeled, was it?
Yeah, I got it
minimum?
right here. So it was average of annual income, yeah.
Some were fairly close, but there's one I think that was really off quite a bit.
Some were, you're talking about the ones that I circled.
Right.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions? We have her here.
There's not much there.
All
No,
Salaries,
there's not.
that's about
Only
it.
question I have on the group insurance and explain that. Taking off longevity for now,
That up to 302,
344.
044. We're going back into the wages later, so.
Tara, I think she added in 5% for health insurance, but
Say that one more
I
time.
think Danielle added in 5%.
Is it 5? Yeah. And maybe it was 5 because we put in a 5% like across the board salary increase. So maybe we just try to keep it.
They're projecting 10, but we don't know until October.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are circling back to wages later?
Yeah.
Is that- Okay. Later, like maybe today or later, like
We don't
probably
know.
tomorrow?
Don't know.
Could be tomorrow.
Friday,
Probably tomorrow.
Friday.
Or Friday, December 23rd.
Yeah. It might be.
December 23rd.
Oh, yeah,
What's,
I get it.
Well, all thing we're doing is removing the longevity.
Right.
Okay, motion to make to approve it.
I'll second.
Motion by Paul, second by Keith. To approve the health at this time, just for the longevity, for a total of 302,044. Signify by saying aye. Motion carries 7-0.
The next one will be page 28,
You
Cume
don't
Cap.
answer this, do you?
Cume Cap. Let me give you the standings of this fund, because
Cume
it's a
Bridge.
non-levy. No, we
Cume
got down Cume Bridge.
Cute.
28.
Page 38.
Cume Cap's the next one.
Oh, okay.
So Cume Cap, right now, the estimated ending balance for 2023 is $153,009. An estimated revenue for 2024 of $281,486, with an expenditure budget of $268,50. Leaving a cash balance of $165,995 at the end of 2024, which is 62% of the current year's operating budget. So
What's this?
Say
Mechanical maintenance agreement?
66%?
62.
Oh, 62. What'd you say?
Mechanical
Let's see
maintenance
what we
agreement.
pay out of that. I wish I could get into Lao. Do you want to look up? I still can't. That,
Mechanical maintenance agreement, CH, is that courthouse?
1138
I don't know, you tell me.
Yeah, it's the courthouse, I'd
What is
say.
it?
account.
The mechanical maintenance agreement.
What is it? What is that?
Heating and air system, maybe.
You mean,
Alpha. It's not Alpha.
it's, yeah, I was gonna say very.
1138 37301.
Who's responsible for this budget? I mean,
Miss Hammock.
Yep.
Chris,
So this,
okay.
code of, what, codification of ordinance? That went way down.
Well, 'cause I looked and seen that we'd only spent 500 the
Well,
last
what
2
is
years.
that?
We can look that up too.
I'm
It's
just curious what
the
that is. Codification of ordinance.
qualification of ordinances, just what it says.
And
And what?
we don't use $2,000.
You have to get
So
them
we.
codified.
What we spent it on, what did we pay?
We used 500 this year.
That was like, either card.
Yeah, did you guys hear that? That is Alpha.
So it is alpha.
We paid Alpha, Valley Supply, and
Heating and
Eva, what is it, Eva?
Either card, or however you say that.
I didn't say it was alpha, I said, so
Eva?
it is alpha.
Yeah, Eva card,
Heating
yeah.
and air.
EVAPAR.
That'd be on the generator,
Yes. Mhm.
generator in the back.
Now, I know that here on this, I had taken the 15,000 out of this, for building maintenance, but you guys said you wanted to add that back in.
But where'd you,
Oh,
yeah, we gotta add that.
3610 there.
Which this is not a levy fund, so it doesn't affect anything. Like I said, we'll look at estimated dollars and all that in there. So,
there's still enough to
yes,
cover that.
yes, absolutely. One foot. What am I doing right on here?
That 15,000, putting it back in here.
We're
Oh,
actually
yeah,
moving
yeah.
too.
Well, I had thought just my misunderstanding, I thought the setup with the building maintenance and the
Okay.
edit
So
plan.
it doesn't affect another account.
No.
It's
Okay.
just for over,
I
we're
just,
not
yeah,
using that fund for that.
Yeah, not minor things. It would be roofs,
This, if you pay the 50,000
Heating
once,
and
I
air
guess that
boilers.
could be a major thing, I don't know.
Well, this could turn in, if they found, well,
That's why
we
we have,
know that,
yeah.
yeah, compression usually cars,
so you want to add 15 or you want to add 10? What do you want to do?
we gotta use 12, we gotta leave 15 in there, I think.
Yeah, 3 months to go, yeah.
Yeah. There's a whole lot we can do there.
That whole quarter, yeah.
Looks like that. No longevity to get there.
So that was probably like that 12,000, that was probably several different little maintenance things
Yeah.
that were done.
23 countries.
What's this, I guess you use it, this public access, it just wasn't spent in the middle of the year.
GIS mapping.
Phil, you mentioned Valley Supplies in on this maintenance agreement? Or did I misunderstand?
No, we just paid something to them out of that, maintenance.
Valley Supply or Fredericks?
Valley Supply.
What's that security
I
system?
understand calling different contractors,
Because,
because they've residents and work out there.
it was budgeted 2
I'm not sure who
places.
maintains what.
They've
and-
residents called to do some changes.
I know that,
in the
The courthouse security system, are they getting a new one? Or,
remember yesterday I said that currently right now ours is working.
Yeah.
So, as long as it continues working, we're fine. I had taken it out. It was budgeted multiple places. So I just, moved it to one place. I feel like you guys could down that to 3,000 if you want.
just,
A security system.
Yep.
So 2,000.
We increased it, now we have a net increase of
Yeah.
12,000.
I just wanna look at all
That's where
these
it should be,
maintenance
though.
agreements
Yeah.
that we have.
It
So
should be
all
here.
these maintenance agreements on our county buildings, we really need to look at that and see if that warrants just a part-time person that has the knowledge or something.
Greg does what he can.
No, that's what I
I mean,
mean.
Greg
I
does
mean,
what
this
he
is
can.
like
But you know, when,
alpha stuff.
on these big generators,
Some of those are really
you know, we
expensive.
got
But down here,
3 or 4 of them. And if you don't have the equipment to
Right.
put a load on them and what have you, and nobody in Perry County does, to my knowledge,
No,
to test these big generators,
I'm not aware of anybody.
even Casey Electric, you know, I don't think
which
they
is why
do,
you have to utilize someone like
like,
Alpha.
Evercar, or Evercar, however you say it, yeah. Cause, you know, the jail's got one, the courthouse got one here, got one out State Highway Drive, County Highway Drive. Okay.
Well, no other changes, what this, that brings us to, is it 280? No, 285 minutes?
65.
No, we added
We added 15,000.
281,500.
281. Oh, not a big. We did. We changed it. Mine's 2, oh, there's 2. 281.
281,500, I got those things.
Oh, yes, I did.
$3,000.
And added building maintenance of 15,000.
Very Drake used to say that. With OU 812.
And that's it. That's the only change. So we added. $13,000. Which we're still okay. Because we have an estimated income.
Hey, Chris.
12, right? Or
There's
no?
nothing else
No, it's
you can
13.
cut.
Okay, cause you took 2 off.
What?
Yeah.
I thought I was looking at
There's
3.
nothing else you can
12
cut.
too.
If you advertise 268.5, you can't go over that.
26 what?
268.5 is what's here,
Mhm.
so that's what you advertise. So you can't go over that amount because there's nothing else with Cume Cap. It's an account by itself. Where if you've got 6 other things and you take away from here and add here, as long as it's not over your advertised amount, you're okay. But with Cume Cap, that's all you've got. So if you
We
add.
haven't advertised. We don't have to we don't advertise till after. We didn't advertise anything.
You advertise this in your first reading. You advertise these amounts, right, David?
We read these amounts,
Right.
yes.
So if you add 15,000, you gotta cut 15,000 within this cube cut to keep you balanced. Otherwise, overall, you're not gonna work.
So what she's saying is then we can't add that.
We
15
can't add
in
that
there.
building maintenance there.
So we just have to leave that.
So if there's,
We'll have to do an additional appropriation
Out of
later if we
this.
need it.
if, yeah,
Mhm.
that's okay.
Okay.
There's, I mean, there's an ending balance.
Because this is a fund by sale.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what we need to be thinking of too. We can do things like that, only if needed, do it like that.
It's not
six,
okay.
5, 3, so
Well, I
it's
mean,
only
for
taking
this.
off 2,000. 266, 500.
Cause you don't know if you're gonna need it or not.
So we need somewhere around 4,000.
Okay,
That's good.
the total is 266,500.
Mhm.
So entertain a motion
I'll make that motion.
by Stan,
Second.
second by Gail. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. That's leaving the Q cap at 266,500. I guess we go to the local income tax detention center.
Mhm.
All we have in there is maintenance contracts of 30,000 and repair the building and fixtures 30,000.
Thought we did that.
Same as last year.
Did we already do that one?
Yeah.
That's what we done have
The
already.
next one I see is page 31, so.
Oh, yeah, you did that. It was 7.
Which isn't much, but
31.
Hmm.
31.
really nothing you can do there. That's all right, anyway.
Okay, we go to 31, sales disclosure.
Oh,
There's only one line item there.
Yeah.
What's the official records? The official records, what is that?
That's for the auditors, that's for they use that for update books or whatever, so that official record goes to the auditor.
Do you need that, I guess?
Doesn't look like it's been used in the last 3 years. Make sure, but I don't see anything. No. I don't like that down.
So we're gonna pull that $500?
Yeah.
If they don't need it, but she's looking.
Or we haven't used it, it hasn't been used, but it's not, let me see where we're at on this account, sales disclosure. Almost there. One more. This account at the end of 2023 is projected to have a cash balance of 8,925 with a projected revenue for 2024 of 25,156. With an estimated budget of 4,827, leaving a cash balance of 29,254.
I guess we could take it
Is
out.
that right? You only had 8,000 estimated December 31, and you're only spending like, looks like
It looks like they,
3 or 4,000. Why would you all of a sudden have
25.
25,000 coming in?
form pulled out. Can you pull up? Since you have WOW up and I can't get into it, the,
If that's the case, we continue
balance
to
by the fund history, you know what I'm talking
receive
about?
that kind of revenue and only have
Balance by
that. This
the
is really low.
What revenue have we brought in yet this year? Oh, there, paper.
Receipts this year's $3,465 and some.
It's kind of like the, you do this, Rachel.
Why is it,
No, I think I did this
why
one.
is the projected, yeah.
Let me see here.
Shoot.
What did I do?
When I had the extra
I was
zero
thinking Joel.
yesterday on my 500.
There's a cash balance of $11,732.91.
But it says revenue 25,000. We only made 3 this year. On track. Are they up in the fee?
Maybe it's
It's
25.
1131.
It's projections for next year.
Yeah, what'd you have on that one?
Receipts $34.65 so far.
Sure it's not.
Hmm?
Cash balance of $11,732.91.
So what was half this year? 34? So it should only be 6.
Yeah, that's a.
That's,
Where does that come
Fees probably.
huh?
from? I mean, how are they
Fees.
projecting that?
Like based on,
Last year,
Last year.
last 2 years.
What was last year?
Average.
Remember?
Last year. Lost my paper now.
Last year, the receipts was $5,490.
Something's not.
I think that 2 is not supposed to be
Yeah.
there.
I think that,
I think that is supposed to be 5,000.
oh yeah, I
Yeah,
guess so.
I think that 2 is supposed to be out. So I'll fix this one on Form 2. 2 penalties. Well, so that's be a little bit different.
Losing money, but the wrong one.
I know. 8925-5168, 4827. That'd be, yep, just take all the 2s out. I think a 2 got for that because the ending balance would be 9254. Which would be,
$1,000.
That'd be right.
20,000 too much there.
$300.
$329, so that's more real. You know. Sorry about that, guys.
it's all right.
Must have had that fingers. That one right.
Blame your
So that makes sense. That
Yeah.
matches. That 2 not being in there.
Okay.
So we gonna pull the 500 or we gonna leave it play? No real matter, is it?
Just take it if you need it, do an additional, and then,
I think full.
Yeah,
that's what I
that's
mean.
what we did before, and one of the others.
If they're not using
If they
it, it
need it,
shows
then
them,
they
you
can
know.
do it
something
additional
happens.
next year.
It's for 27, really.
You're good.
But it wasn't, yeah. We're up and off on it.
All they did.
And then cash balance,
I make a motion to approve.
91.
You're entertaining.
I'm entertaining a motion for sales disclosure approval
I'll make a motion.
What's that?
by Keith, second by Stan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
One change there was the official records moved to 500. So that's a total of 4327.
Oh, maybe I should check this out.
Emergency plan, right to know.
Page 32. Emergency planning, right to know. This is the same as for the phone of $1,000 from last year. And that's because you moved the phone expense to
No,
Not on this one, no.
Oh,
what is that?
what is it?
This is an increase, this is a new one.
Didn't he say he moved it?
New line item.
He said they stopped paying for cell phones, but something about this.
Yeah.
Oh,
And this is the account, he said that they don't spend over what they get, so even though they have like, whatever they get, they spend. If he doesn't have it here, it comes out of somewhere
What was the
else.
phone for?
Or an internet service
Yeah, internet somewhere.
here.
He said they're not paying cell phones
He
anymore.
said that was the router.
The routers.
One of the routers.
Yeah.
maybe.
I forgot where he said they were at. One of them's in the courthouse here.
Mhm.
Here,
He said one they put at the sheriff's office.
I don't remember the third one.
Let's
Pay a
see what it
monthly fee
was
on
in the
that, yes.
internet. Cause this is new. But
We can contact him back to verify it.
I think he had one here in this building.
He did have one
Yeah,
here,
so
one
here in the sheriff's office and courthouse.
So three
Three routers.
That's $1,000 a year.
he shouldn't have, need one at the courthouse.
Soon Gray.
Some of these descriptions need to be changed.
I agree.
A little bit. I mean, it's not a phone, it's
It's not
an
a tree.
internet router,
not really.
you know,
Yeah.
that's going through the internet that
so when I look on phone,
So you're saying that should really read internet router?
We talked about that, adding that router behind it earlier.
is this covered in the,
We just don't do the phones.
through the commissioner?
Yeah, but we talked about that under mobile phones under the EMA budget.
Nothing here is.
Yeah, cause he has
yeah, we
1,400
talked
there.
about that in mobile.
He's still
phones,
asking
yeah.
for 1,400 there.
And we approved it.
Yeah.
And that was the one that said the routers.
I think so.
Yeah,
Here he comes.
I think so. I think you're right.
He's watching
Oh, yeah.
us on film.
yeah.
They're on it, Steve.
To explain the $1,000, that has nothing to do with cell phones or the routers. That is a share they're using out of the budget, out of the LEPC budget, to put toward the landline phones here at
In
the,
the annex building.
right, landline phones here at the annex, right. It's just utilizing part of that funding to help pay the landline phones. It's
Yeah, it
not
should
cell
be.
phones and not routers.
It'd be nice that, that we can always update the settings on, but that should actually say annex landline.
Yes,
Which is, right,
well, that's our.
I'm gonna make a note on that.
We need to have her
She'll do
change
it.
some of these.
That one time.
She's on
That's
it.
just creating new line items.
Is that enough for installation?
Okay, so I will tell you that
You
they,
can't change
You
the name.
can't change description.
no, you can't change the
Okay, so
description.
you have to create another one.
We'd have to create a new one, and I have been told that we have way too many personalized account lines, that they're supposed to be more general, like telephone, internet, you know, like we were
Makes it
even,
easier for the audit.
yes. We have way too many accounts. We're supposed to, and those,
So
our
each of them-
accounts have to be crosswalked with a DLGF. So that's why it's better to leave it general.
So do
with
we
that.
have a description under each one of them that tell, some kind of description where we'll know what it is, so we don't have to constantly ask,
It would
what
have
is
to be
this? What is
Chris
this?
Or
probably,
they
Or
put it
this
in the
changing-
notes, or they put it in the
or
notes.
something.
Yeah, well, there's
It
the
would be
notes
helpful to
here,
have
yeah.
that.
I think it would be
A
good for the
description for
department heads next year to put in the notes
Yeah.
what it's for.
Yeah,
Then we wouldn't have to call you ever. You wouldn't have to walk over here. Good thing you got to walk.
And then Steve, real quick, postage and travel, if you don't use it, it looks like, or didn't so far this year, maybe, yeah.
I love you dearly to be watching every penny, but this isn't even, these are just,
Well, I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
asking,
Right.
where it is.
I don't know what time,
We can't do anything
I don't know
really
what
with
time.
that.
there's really
It's
nothing you guys can do with this
I
account.
remember
This is
this one
just,
last year. We basically, it is what it is.
this is the state funding that
Yes.
that we get a portion of from the hazardous material storage that each facility has, is what it is.
I guess my question is, if it's not gonna be used for that, can you move it to office supplies and get some,
it's in the same category. If he chooses to do so later, he can do it without even permission.
Just a transfer.
It's just a transfer,
In-house transfer.
in-house transfer.
No,
So basically,
No, it isn't.
No,
No,
it's a
no.
3
it's different.
from postage.
I mean, what I'm saying is, you don't wanna lose it.
He
if you're
can
not-
transfer
if you
from
need it for
postage
something
to
else.
travel. He can't transfer
He
off.
could
But I mean,
He could move
postage
it
and
to
travel, if
equipment
he's not
or
gonna use
anything
that,
with
he could put it up.
For 30,000.
It's fine.
But he can still transfer if you,
To another.
if we.
Yeah, that's them, that's not us.
Right.
I'm just trying to,
You transferred in a line item within that
Mhm.
account, so.
he
I know,
can
but-
still request it even if he wanted to transfer it
So basically, they're.
from there. It's no additional,
Right.
yeah.
Hey, really, there's no change
No,
we
no
really
change.
made. Talk Steve into moving some money around, maybe
Yeah.
within the account, but the bottom line's gonna stay the same.
You're there.
Yep.
Motion made to allow
Second.
Motion by Paul, second by Gail. All
Thank
in
you,
favor,
Steve.
Thanks,
signify by
Steve.
saying aye. Motion carries 7-0. Enhanced access, page 33. Down the hill.
I think this one can be. Enhanced access fee dropped. From last year. I think this is like a drop.
I heard you say it, Rob, I wanted to explain
This is not-
what we requested, because we had a couple of customers out in California that were getting, had Laredo subscriptions. And they canceled and they went to bulk copies, and that means they wanted a copy of every single document that we record and every page. And so that's why that went down for what we asked for last year. Any questions?
I know who that probably was.
You what?
I said, I probably know who that was. From California.
CoreLogic?
Huh?
I think it's CoreLogic.
Said it was one or two.
We lost, well, it was the same company, they had two
Two.
subscriptions,
Okay.
and then they decided they wanted to do the bulk copies to get everything.
So just leave that the way it is.
I don't think nothing changed on it. It's good to see cut back to 10,000,
Down from last year.
big time from last year.
That's a good drop.
I've been entertaining motion to
I'll make that.
approve.
More like 20.
Motion by Stan, second by
I'll second.
Earl. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries 7-0. Identification, security protection. That's redacting technology, 6400. Find out how much you can do with that.
Went up a bunch.
See, when did that go up? It said, didn't it?
Who is this, or what is this?
Social security, it's the recorder.
It's through the county recorder.
Social security identification, social security redaction.
How come it went up so much?
We decided to take one of our software. We decided to take a software payment out of there.
Can we pay this out of her?
Perpetuated?
It's the same, it's the
Perpetuation
same
fund?
difference.
So this don't come out of general fund?
No, this is,
No,
It won't help.
this is the cash, this account right now. I'm afraid to give my numbers. I need to go tonight and check. I've had fat fingers twice now. This account right now is anticipated to bring in $12,000 a year. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
'Cause I got all that figured.
Yeah.
And has a so ending cash balance for 2023 would be 37,750. Expected revenue for 24, 12,000. With an end, then these subtracting off this with the ending balance of 43,260.
Where's the revenue come from there?
This again comes from our recording fees. This was
Oh, okay.
put in statute. When it came up with the code that we had to start redacting all the social security numbers,
Percentage
it was
goes,
put into code probably 10 years ago or so. So that's where that comes from the fees we collect. So much of that fee goes into this fund.
and before that fee, before we had the redacting, that fee went, the total fee went where?
There
We
wasn't,
didn't have it,
we didn't have it until they came up with this
the redacting.
redacting.
Okay. It looks like it's profitable for this.
That's the one that I told you that statute changed, I think it was last year, that if we wanted to, that we could move that money to the recorder's perpetuation, but it's still not gonna help the general fund, so.
Right.
No.
Thanks. Oh, I've been entertaining
The way it is.
Yeah.
Keith's got it, I got a second.
Motion by Keith, second by Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Local road and street. Stone rip wrap, 350,000.
Same as last year.
Equipment, 70,000. Total 420,000.
What cost of stone brought up quite a bit this year.
Heavy storms caused a lot of stone doors.
This won't help you, but
What can you hear on this?
state of pave my road.
Chip and seal.
Seeing no changes, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So
Make a
moved.
motion.
Motion by Earl, second by
Earl
Paul.
got it. Earl got it, I second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. That's our local road and street. Already did the sheriff, commissioner, the jail. Then we're gonna get to the highway. Motor vehicle highway, restricted administration.
Oh, yeah.
This is all salary. The,
What's that like?
we'll do it later.
Yeah, like everybody else.
Good, we move on to page 40. Motor vehicle restricted maintenance and repair. Here we do have some maintenance and stuff. We have certain salaries, and we also have culvert, 120,000. Bituminous, 200,000. And 30,000 road signs.
It looks like some more for double the temporary seasonal employees.
I think he's up and wanting to pay to where he can get some employees. That's what he's paying now, or paying last.
Looks like it's the same, maybe adding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, cause it wouldn't, unless they're making $8
Use them more.
adding more part-time, seasonal, or whatever it is, temporary.
Giving them more
You can
hours.
trim that a little bit. That would,
Smart,
help us in this.
small business.
No,
My road.
this is not part of the levied funds. So do we want to do anything with this at this point, or do we want to wait till we do
We just
wages?
leave it alone.
Like, so we're looking. Hey, I guess, entertain or leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
7-7.
I'll make that motion to leave it alone.
I'll second.
We'll come back to it. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
You can't motion and say nay, it can, but
Huh?
you do that.
Well,
You're gonna make a motion and say nay.
It happens,
motor vehicle
Make motion for needs to.
restricted general and unrestricted.
Actually, you did that earlier. You did that earlier.
You know, 41, David?
Mhm.
Salary.
Talked about it.
Well, this is just,
Motion for it.
social security, retirement, and group insurance. We really can't do anything with it until we look at salaries though. Cause it could change.
Unless we want to say it's fuel and oil.
They don't wanna do that.
It'll be sooner.
How much
I
has
get
got
so far
used
ahead.
so far this year?
We'll come back to this.
Make a motion.
Highway administration, page 42.
There's some longevity we can cut.
Is that the first time we've seen
Yeah.
do these? I guess we can remove the longevity. Because that's what we've been doing. So everything's kind of remained the same, but I don't know how they tie with actual.
Advertising print, it don't look like he's ever used it. Must be getting ready to start doing some advertising. $100.
Well,
I guess if he thinks he needs it.
I think
that's
it's
why he have
just,
it.
that was just through half the year, so he might, I don't know if he's gonna use it the second half.
He didn't use any in 22 or 21. It's recorded. Used $8 for travel. Didn't go very far, did it?
Do you want to do anything with this one?
Probably
This
too
time?
much to fill out the
No, I
forms, just.
Oh, yeah, remove longevity.
Remove the longevity. Okay, we'll remove the longevity, 3550.
So, 125, 233.
Actually, 5233. Motion for approval. Second. Motion by Gail, second by David. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries 7-0.
There's some longevity we can pick up with.
Okay, motor vehicle, highway maintenance and repair. We'll remove the longevity that we've been doing, 10,450.
274665 for your top.
How much?
274665.
Okay, next we have. What's the new, the 50,000
Yeah, it's stone.
stone? Oh, they move those around, don't they? From
Yep.
one fund to the other.
Hardware and tools is.
What did you say the road signs were going up for?
That was state mandated and there's something certain.
Probably all those you see on 66.
Look down.
No, he didn't do those.
He's not getting that.
No. Yeah, but
They've spent.
I would assume some lobbyists. Said, I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah, the bridges they had to put.
That's what it was.
Lawsuit somewhere, and
Yeah. So now we have to spend all this money.
I can't imagine mowing around.
They don't. They don't mow no more.
Okay.
Calcium chloride, 35,000.
Mhm.
I'm surprised we used much of that last year. I thought we had a fairly mild winter.
CDO was because he's got openings and looking for drivers.
Same way with the training.
I forgot what he said, automotive computer services, what's that?
Update computer to read computers on vehicles. So we can work on the trucks.
So the one we have doesn't work or it's out.
It probably needs updates.
Well, last year, they, on this calcium chloride salt, they asked for 30 and they cut 3,000 out of it, and it made it to 27. And that he hasn't really used 2022, 2021. Can we
I don't know. It doesn't look very sunny.
cut into that?
I guess he moved that from
Still the beach.
the training. Looks like it. Travel, training, travel, and education.
Well, he actually increased.
Oh, well, I know, but he decreased the one, the calcium and the increase.
He said he transferred. He transferred this 3,000 down here.
No additional.
Well, no, a minus and then a plus. Right?
I don't
Well,
think
the
we
total
should have
budget
solved.
last year is
Tell me what the
27.
weather's gonna do.
I think
I'll tell you
this
what
is
we
this
can do.
No,
He
yeah, this
asked
is
for 30, he took 3 away.
Say,
and
tell me what the
dropped it.
weather's
Right?
gonna do, then I'll tell you what we need to do. But
Right.
I agree with Keith, leave it the way
That's
it
what
is.
he said.
Oh, yeah, I was prepared.
That's the way I took it.
So we can have.
I think so.
Or do.
that could be.
But
Have
nonetheless,
the budget not.
Yeah,
But still,
You're
yeah,
right.
my
Not have the
You're
budget.
right.
point is like usual.
you're right. That's right. So, okay.
I mean, if he can transfer 3,000 out of it, we could.
10,450, leave the rest of it alone.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Keith.
Do what you say?
Take the
Oh.
10,450 out, and
Only
leave the rest of it
15,000
alone.
here.
Yeah, it doesn't help us anyway.
It seems like 79 and 15 and 27. I don't know. It seems like
Great, seven,
steadily going up.
Did you guys get that?
Uh-uh.
387,715.
Motion for approval,
So moved.
Second.
motion by Paul, second by Earl, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries 7-0.
You say aye.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I thought you said nay. It
It
sounded
just-
like nay.
It just came out.
Six ayes.
I don't know why sometimes you
One A.
say aye and sometimes A.
Okay.
A
I'm like
and
nay.
nay sound
It means the
alike.
same thing.
47,747.
Like it.
Hoping we
I'm
can
like
get through all
no,
those
sounds like
today.
no, so don't say that.
What'd you say? Oh,
Taking off the longevity, 47,747. We can get through a lot of
we
these
got all
today.
supplies,
These are self-funding accounts.
What kind of new equipment you want to buy?
Tire increase. Tire increase, garage supply increase. Did that work comp go up on everybody? See, it was 90, it went up to 100.
They do their own work comp. They have their own work comp plan.
So it went up over 10%. Dang.
Have any idea what kind of new equipment he's wanting to buy for 50,000?
No,
I think I asked that and he said he just puts it aside to, right?
You did, I remember
Think so.
that. You asked that on last Wednesday.
He just, I don't think
may
he has
not
any
use
one
it.
thing in mind, nothing new, he said, just,
Must be a new line item.
Oh, that's true.
but he's, I have wrote down here, I don't know, nothing new, so it must have been somewhere else he asked. We can ask. Maintenance 10. So they pay their own work phone.
Any other changes other than the longevity?
Nope.
963.
Sorry.
97.
963970.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Paul, second by
I'll second.
Earl. I think everybody's getting tired.
I think I am.
Motion carries 7-0. Oh, all those in favor? Okay.
Aye.
We are getting tired.
You IRA. Okay,
I was just looking at that fuel and oil again, that's,
all those in
you
favor?
know,
7-0 then.
Charlie does a really good job of keeping the stuff in line.
Flat book. We do that?
Mhm.
Is this Chris?
Huh?
So you took 1,500 out?
Yep.
And it said
No,
you
I,
budgeted it in general?
No, I budgeted 0 in general. It was,
Okay.
but these were double budgeted
Okay.
and I took them out. Now my office supplies, I took it out of
So this
here.
is general?
It just kind of offset a little bit. They're budgeted both. This is my plat book. So things were budgeted in both places and I just moved.
Why don't you put that 1,500 over here and
Huh?
out of the general?
Is it currently in the general?
Yeah.
It was budgeted, it was budgeted budgeted both places.
Take it out over there and put it over here. If you have you have $65,000.
Good. I can be self-sufficient.
Like,
That work for you?
I mean, can you do that? Right?
Yeah.
Just take it out of that other one?
Well, no, can you?
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
You advertise.
I advertised it.
Okay, then
So
you cannot spend it and
You
then do an
can-
additional.
do an additional later on if I need office supplies.
I mean, if you need
So
it,
you can,
save it there.
I don't care to be self-sufficient. I just wanted to be able to have enough to do
I understand.
this increase out of here.
Just make a
And,
note, in case.
yeah,
Now,
I just changed it to where like all 4 of these were budgeted in both places. Like there was a little bit in each.
is there only a certain percentage of, like your salary can't, some of it come out of here? I don't know. I mean, what's allowable? Is there only,
Coming down here.
Huh?
Yeah. there's some-
Yeah, if we all do plat book, we can. Yeah, I got some.
I know, I mean,
I don't think, mine wouldn't, we couldn't suffice much
It's
more
not
than
that
what we're
much
already
in it.
doing.
There's really not much in it.
No.
When you look at the. total.
No,
okay, then.
it's not gonna fund much more than that.
So next year, just remember for like, or if you get some big piece of something for your office, coffee
Yeah, like when
or
I need my
something like that, you can come.
Well, that's where I
That's
pay
what
for
she
my
did.
copier,
Right,
right?
I mean, but we're still,
Any cash balance, yeah.
yeah,
There's still a big
you
cash.
can use that
Yeah.
instead of.
Instead of coming out of general,
Yep.
have it come out of these little funds just for
Right.
those
We just have
one-time
to start
things.
thinking that way for
Yeah.
a lot of these things, actually, for all the offices that have the significant,
That's why it was important to. look at
have that, yeah, we need, I'm glad I have that.
Okay, we made no changes here, right? Motion to approve plat book.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion by Keith, second by Dale. All those in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Nay.
Yes.
There you go.
Motion carries.
Or is that a yes, you're opposed?
Yeah.
I'm just confused.
I think he's making fun of me. I'm not for sure.
Riverboat.
Oh, no. Let's look at that. Oh, here we are.
Oh.
What?
Is this another one where
Sorry.
it's by itself,
What?
the riverboat?
I had already changed it on there, in the advertisement.
Oh, okay.
What?
Just hadn't been changed on here.
The consulting,
Consulting
it's come out here.
instead. We had made those changes. I had already printed all these and I did go back and change it. So in our.
So what is this
advertisement,
data pit stop? It was coming out, but now it's not. Oh,
What?
it just moved down, okay.
Yeah, that's another thing, like where I said that we had way too many accounts that were getting messed up because they don't, do you see what I'm saying? You had to crosswalk, and where they told us that should just be under, software, not have data pit stop, because then it needs to be more categorized,
Yeah.
not
More
individualized.
generic.
Yes,
Yeah.
so the consulting's on here too.
Fire range maintenance?
Huh?
What is that?
Under auditor at the
What's
top.
that contract with Tell City?
Where is the consulting over here?
It's not, I had already printed these,
I don't mind.
printed all these when we changed that, but in the Form 4B, it's right,
So how much is that?
10,000.
So that's gonna change this to 29,300.
Yep, 29,300, which is what is in the form.
You have 29,300. You need to add 10,000.
Okay. Who's that?
I think it's in here. Or,
Oh, for the,
did that data pit stop get that asset management stuff going or?
Everybody's entering it and we're good to go for this year.
Oh, it's already all done?
Everybody has to have them done by November 1st.
Okay, great.
Yep, we had met
That'll
with
be
all of
really
the,
helpful.
all of the departments. And then now it's just a lot, I gave them a heads up, a lot of legwork in the beginning, but after you get going, then instead
Did
of
you just have additions for deletion?
additions or deletions, yeah.
Be nice to have that all set up.
I think that's a plus.
That brings the total here to 29,300,
Yes.
3-1,
How much?
29,300.
So where did you add 10?
It's up under, I
Yeah,
guess
it's
under county
account
council,
3311,
Okay.
0, under auditor.
under
Real quick.
auditor.
Real quick, what's that emergency expenses at the courthouse? 20,000, nothing was spent. You remember what that was?
That's why I just figured if we needed an additional, we would or not.
Yeah, I have no idea. What'd you do that?
Did we make a motion, did I miss it?
20,000, emergency expenses.
A year ago, Kelly, who knows?
No, it's current. All for this year. All right, I'll make a motion to approve this.
I'll second that.
Motion by Kelly, second by Stan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Aye, aye. Okay, page 47, sex and violent offender. Administration. Not much in here,
300.
not much change either.
Increase.
All supplies, $50 was basically it. He's been spending, looks like pretty much most of it. Equipment hasn't done much, but. If no one has any changes, I would make a motion to approve it.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Stan, second by Keith, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Does that carry your big down?
Supplemental public defender. 3650. Attorney 3150, training, travel, education 500. Same as last year, but we haven't expended anything yet. Is that, why is that, or?
Let me check, see if these are making sense. I'm gonna take my computer.
There's actually nothing in there ever until 2023.
I mean, what's the attorney?
Well, public defender, is that it? Then court. Haven't had a,
It's like a public attorney, right? That's what they call it, public defender,
Not
right?
very much for an attorney.
that's supplemental.
They train,
Attorney training. All right.
18,000. Wonder what you can use it for.
It's at $522.09
Out of there.
out of attorney.
What is it?
Out of the attorney, $522.09 has been expended.
Oh, yes, yes, it's,
I don't know.
or they have, or whatever.
I mean, it's the same, it's barely being used, but Is this one, she didn't maybe know the cash balance of this either, and,
I'm
I
assuming,
mean, I'm just wondering if like, you know, office supplies, some of those things we're paying in general, we can't start getting some of those out of
okay.
stuff like this. I wish we knew what each one you could use it for, you know. Really, I'm trying for something.
She might be in court now too.
That's all right, I mean.
She must be in court
That's
too.
on council.
Alright,
It only would be if you could take something out of the
That's,
general and pay
that
out
was
of
the
here.
general, yeah.
That's the only where it would help you, but we don't know for sure what you can use it for,
that's
so.
why it's helpful, you know what you can use it for, you can.
Because it does have a,
Pretty healthy balance.
for the amount of expenditure that's coming out of it.
So $23,500 cash balance.
Mhm.
Cause you can take,
Where's the money coming from that's going to the bill?
take the
That's a good
6,000.
question.
Hey lady,
Public defender
sorry about
has
you.
to pay
Another
some
question. They're talking on supplemental public defender fund, okay? There is, the attorneys budgeted for 3,150 and the training, travel and education for 500. Is there more that can come out of this to take relief off of general, such as office supplies, stuff like that? Just didn't know the stipulations on this fund as far as what can come out of it.
What's the attorney?
Okay. Okay,
I don't know.
Where's the income come from?
I'm sorry about it.
Public defenders don't pay so much for a case.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, but
Okay.
what we can do is cut down on the other and then ask her to take it out of there and do it.
Okay.
No.
Okay. We'll check into it later.
Because we're-
Okay, I'll let him know. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Cut down on office supplies. If they have 1,000, let's say 500, we know that they can come back here and get it later out of additional on this.
She doesn't know. She can look into it tomorrow.
I mean, you know what I mean? It'll take a little work for 1 year.
Yeah.
I don't wanna
She's
do-
wanting
I don't necessarily wanna
$5,000
do
worth of
salaries
office
in these,
furniture.
but other
This might
things,
be a good place to get it.
that's what I mean, if
I
you
was
budget,
saying, we can't increase this.
But we could decrease and then do
Right.
additional.
say, cut
And
your
then do
office
that.
supplies, cut your furniture, whatever, and come over here and get it if we knew that it could,
Yeah.
you know, you'd have to do an additional one.
Yep, I understand.
So what do you want to do this time?
We're wrong.
Do we vote it?
I mean, wouldn't wanna take wages out of there, there's not much in
Right.
it, but
I
other things,
entertain motion.
Just tables
Motion made.
and one-time
one-time
things.
purchase,
For
yeah,
3650.
the ones that don't have something else.
Second.
Motion by Keith, second by Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Right.
Motion carries 7-0. We did this already, the severity, didn't we?
Yeah.
I'll go to 50. All these.
County elected official training, work, travel, 1,000. That's,
There's like 4 of them, so
we do them all at once, or we can do
I'll
them?
go for it. I'm game.
I think we can do them.
We're gonna
all
get
at
through the book. It's all the same.
County elected official training for clerk and auditor and treasurer and recorder.
We'll write them all. You can make a motion for all of them.
How about surveyor?
Yep, so
And
there.
surveyor at $900. So it's a total of $4,900
You just didn't increase it.
for elected official training.
You didn't do the children version.
I would entertain a motion that we
I'm gonna do them on here.
approve all 4 of these.
So moved.
5, all 5, the clerk, treasurer, auditor, recorder, and surveyor.
So it's $400.
At 1,000 for the first pool and surveyor at 900.
I'll second for Earl because she's got a mouthful.
Motion by Earl, second by Keith, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
You're welcome, Earl.
Next, we're on page 55. Statewide 911.
Dispatch services, that's a contractual thing we have.
Part of it.
Yeah.
It's half of the 283. Now, the reason that has a cash balance is because of that leftover, right? That 90-10 split.
I believe so.
I think so.
I believe so.
And that might be where we need to take the deficit this year, out of that. That's what it's for. Relieve the general, and take it out of that 90-10 split. In there right now.
It's actually not even in there either, in the general. Now,
It's just an additional.
I know, but it's not even in there either.
No, I'm saying instead of paying it out of there. I mean, it's coming. We're gonna have to pay 46,573,000 next year. You gotta find it somewhere, right? And instead of general, I think it needs to come out of this split stuff. Okay, there. Yeah. Kelly, what's the balance right now? Steve said 90. Yeah, I think every November, we usually will
We
get
can't do
another.
anything with it here.
No, I'm just telling you
I
all
know.
the additional coming.
Cash balance is 138,047.
Okay, so we're putting that in. We can definitely get that 46,000 out of there. Thank you, Kelly. You're welcome. They'll be
How
counting.
did that, this one shows, are you talking about cash balance as of today?
We've had received
We received like this.
213,118 is what we've received in this year.
It's every month.
I know, but it's been, yeah, quite a bit received since this June 30th.
So, I mean, I don't think there's anything you can do about this.
No,
You already agreed to that? That,
we agreed to
basically all of it.
the 141. Well, actually, the 283.
The telecom, go to. Where'd that go?
What is it?
Down to data management,
Oh, it probably went to,
16.4 has been moved down to database management.
oh, maybe so. It is the same amount.
Seems weird, but I don't know. I mean, in my mind, you've already approved this. The contract.
There's really, nothing's really changed on it.
It's a have-to service, so I don't see where we can, unless we call Steve in here and want to rattle questions at him, I think we just need to move on.
I think we need to approve it.
He's already provided this,
Yeah,
and you approved it.
so I think we just need to approve it. So I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the statewide 911 as presented or as budgeted, requested, 283,000.
Motion.
Motion by Gail,
I'll second.
second by Stan, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Local income tax PSAT dispatch. That should be at what is it?
Was it advertised as nothing?
Well,
345, what should be.
Mhm.
should be 345, 587.
Well, how are we gonna advertise that? Additional?
Actually, she did advertise. I mean, it was.
I mean, I don't know what you read off of at your meeting, but that's what it would have been. Whatever you read at your meeting would have been at the advertised part. So if your book wasn't updated and you read from that book, that's what you.
No, I didn't read from this book.
Okay.
I
don't
updated
know. Okay.
I read 345, 587.
345. 887.
587.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm just curious for this.
Now, there were,
There's
well-
28,000 roughly.
what,
28,000 balance.
my hands are on it.
You spent it all this year.
Well, we're
I
supposed to.
I know.
It's supposed to be, that's why it's designated PSATs.
345, 547.
Was it 547 or 587?
I don't know.
I had 587.
Okay. I thought you said 547.
I mean, it's already been approved, so.
Right.
Okay.
587.
We moved it without you.
No, that's fine. I had to take a phone call.
I think Kim was taking care of your.
Are you taking care of me?
I hope. Kelly.
So 345, 587.
Right.
Okay.
So we need to, I do entertain motion to approve that. The PSAP,
Make a
dedicated
motion.
PSAP, local income tax.
Make a motion.
Motion by Keith, second by Paul, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
But motion carries 7-0.
Mhm.
Oh. Is this the one we talked about? Moving. We didn't talk about office supplies, didn't we?
This is the one Lucy said that she would be willing to, if there were things that you wanted to take off the other, like one-time expenses or whatever, to put here, she'd be willing to entertain that or talk about that or what can and can't be done. I don't know the parameters, so
Don't need it.
I wish we did, then we could. This is the one where I wish if we're gonna do that 5,000, then take it out here instead.
Again. We can't do anything with it.
Well, then just cut it out of there and then do an
Can
additional.
we add to this? We can't add to this.
You can do an additional.
Yeah, in the
If you agree to
during
it.
the year, 2024.
I mean, it would take a vote.
We really can't do anything now.
I mean, we can, well, you can't technically give the okay for the vote, but. Still have to watch that next year.
So some of those other ones you've already approved, you're gonna have to double check to make sure you didn't increase anything.
Mhm.
Were they all
I'll go through
within
that
the,
tonight. I think we're good,
I think they were all
because most of them, yeah.
within the,
Be sure and double check prices for it.
Huh?
Be sure and double check prices for it.
I will.
I wonder why group insurance went to 0.
And out of a different place, correct?
I mean, that's a lot, 17,000. Wish I had back there.
Did it move somewhere else?
That did-
So the only thing we could do here is, well, it's not gonna help it, but let's look at the supplies.
I'm curious about the group insurance. Do you know where they would have moved that 17,000? Group insurance, 17,583, and then it's 0. We probably need to know where that is.
Well, they haven't expended any this year. Maybe that's what she's had is the change.
Didn't expend any in
2022 either.
I wonder why we're pulling out of,
That.
Instead of-
Technician on the board doubled.
say again, Paul.
The drug screen technician more than doubled as well.
Well, that's
we
what
need to be
she was,
pulling group out of it.
what was she trying to do? Get a,
She wanted to
they're often
increase
more.
A male and a
Trying
female.
to find somebody to work.
They
that
can't
money.
find anybody, I thought.
She's looking for
And the
somebody
pay's
that
down.
she increased the.
For your,
Yeah.
that
She
secures
just gave her
them.
one person.
I think she has one.
Yeah, a male.
She uses community corrections. She does, they
Oh,
don't
okay,
have one.
okay.
They either do it or probation does it.
Trying to find it.
So then we have one here.
He got hired to test.
They're not doing urine samples, they're doing mouth swabs.
So which one is that?
Drug screen technician.
Drug screening technician.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, but I'm just. Yeah.
You may not use it, just can't find anybody. But that might be a good job for you, David, if you retire,
Be right there.
the sample collector,
Official.
official, technician.
He can't afford to pay that.
I mean, the rest are salaries.
Mhm. The ones down below, these are almost the same,
Office
3,000.
equipment, 5,000. Was that furniture? Outdated furniture? Or something?
Yeah, I think she said it had been
10 years or
replaced for
something.
many years.
Oh, she's not.
You think?
I wish we could take more of it because the reserve's done.
she did talk about you could pay for some supplies or whatever. Of course, that again would have to be,
Additional.
we have to do an additional, whatever.
What line you on right now?
I'm just looking at 57, I'm not really looking at a line.
Okay, so at the court reporter, would be 4,200 new item. Probation secretary is 716 new item.
I don't know if these are like
That's her increases she's asking.
It's like raises or something, isn't
Okay.
She's asking for them out of here.
it? Which helps,
Sorry.
which helps. You know,
General, yes.
Okay, so what are we on this?
we haven't changed anything. I'm assuming,
Call for a motion.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion with it the way it is.
Second that.
motion by Paul, second by Stan, leave as is. Signify saying aye. Motion carried, 7-0. Jury fee, 3,000.
Might need that next year.
It won't cover next year.
We don't need that when we have a jury, right?
Hopefully there'll be some bleeding, you know,
So if I don't do anything with that, we're probably gonna be adding to it.
hope not, probably.
So I would entertain a motion to,
I'll make that motion.
motion by Earl,
Second.
second by Paul, all those in favor, signify saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Jury fee at 3,000. Next we have page 59, pre-trial diversion.
She took all that out in the beginning and put it over where it could be paid to get the reimbursement.
Which is a good move.
Yep.
Does this reimburse that what, 60?
66%. Yeah, either it was put into, prosecutor general or the child support, so some could be 66 more.
66% reimbursement.
Up to 66.
No, 66.
It's actually
Oh, it is
66.
Okay, because I knew.
So it's not like helper fees up to 40.
Up to 40, yeah.
It is just flat 66 and only 40 is 66.
Yep, and then we also do that whole indirect cost with 40 and all that stuff that we get like 2 years in the
So
What is that, Dawson?
Dawson.
Dawson, okay.
So where did she move that to?
Or-
Either the prosecutor.
Some of it's
Pre-trial
40.
or 4D, yeah.
I think a lot of it's 40.
Which technically doesn't help kind of, but it does help by getting reimbursement.
You do get 66% back.
But we did increase our
You didn't
levy
really,
fund,
well,
but it's
I'd rather get the reimbursement.
66 back,
We need to do that where we can.
you know. For everything else on here, I think it's relative, well, postage went down considerably.
Office supplies went down, computer supplies went down,
Well, there's the law enforcement donations,
postage went down,
13,000 you were talking about.
and that's where the body
That's where
cams
the
are.
5,000 is. And the 8
As long
is,
as she didn't change it in any way, that's what it was when I.
oh, okay. So that's pretty much.
Yep.
Same with those
Several things went
moving
down.
up top. So I would entertain a motion,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
approve as is, motion by Earl, second by Paul. Pre-trial diversion at 29,100 as budget requested. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
No, she's got 6 in there.
Oh, 6-0, he's not here.
I vote twice. Aye.
No, you can't. You probably would though.
He voted for Earl a while ago on motion.
I didn't vote for him.
Next, we had page 60, surplus, surtax and wheel.
I saw that.
Now,
David, what is that? Like, how do we get that?
It's for your car license, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Don't you have that tax when you?
Yeah, you buy license plate, it's on there.
So it's your dollars. You buy a vehicle or license it. Yes, bituminous of 175,000 and new road equipment of 50,000. That seems to be everywhere. Road equipment.
Makes a lot of it.
But done it since 21.
He does a lot of this budgeting here too, guys. He budgets it in different places, and I'm sure Steve is listening. And I hope he knows I've listened to him and learned. He budgets this stuff, and then he has to move it for the community crossings grant. So that's where it's different places. I really learned a lot this year from them.
He spreads it out.
Like restricted.
Yeah, he budgets it here, and this is what he pulls to do the matching, yeah. It's very,
And like I know there's insurance here, but then sometimes if they move that around instead of,
Just no insurance.
Okay.
You ready for a motion?
yes,
Motion.
motion by Gail, second by Kelly.
Yeah, yes.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries 6-0.
Kelly.
Just curious. If you don't know.
We've already done operation, haven't we?
Did we do that?
That means like roof insurance.
Oh, we've done the operations.
More road equipment, you know, when there's a big purchase, maybe that other one should have went into.
Yesterday, I think.
Inmate housing.
Jail operations we've done.
That's it, back to the beginning.
Inmate housing, sheriff. Did we do that?
Firearm training.
We do not have to do fire training. Remember, we talked about that. I'll put that in there, and you all can tear that paper up, out like that.
No, we're not done. Don't we have some budgets yet in
Just
general,
tear it up.
in general?
Huh?
level?
Tear it out.
I don't need it. Yeah, you don't need a budget
We
out.
have to go back to salary.
Yeah, we have to go back to general. We'll do some more.
I don't know when they're there.
Guys, I do want to tell you, I have to leave at 3 today, so, you guys can keep on working till 4. That's perfectly fine. Ellie and Kim will be here.
So we've gone to everything once, I guess.
For some reason, I thought okay, go back to county general for the budget for salaries.
Oh, yeah, we have.
I know salaries.
Oh, you got,
We've been doing the subtracting, so,
We probably need to have the wages taken out to know what's left, what's the difference, and then what we have. Right?
well, yeah,
I mean, so we know.
that'd be a lot of work, but
It's gonna have to be figured. Otherwise, do we adjourn at 3 and let them do that, and then come back in the morning and have you know, plan, but think about it overnight, what, how it's gonna look.
not in my level, because it's all different. It's based off of
What do
that.
you have left? You know what I mean?
543 plus the,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Really need this, or talk about strategy here on what's it look like. Is it by group? Is it across the board? Is it low, mid, high? How do you want?
so as of right now.
Did we ever get the cut total? What we needed?
That's
what
what
we're
they
looking
have
at
left to
now.
cut.
See where we're at.
Well, and then if we can separate the insurance out, we'll know what the, hopefully the balance is, that we can give
Start
them.
it off, needing to cut
Your,
yeah.
well, I mean,
I was going to see what, I think she's working up
That's what they
how much
told them
we
started,
started
they need to cut,
can I?
which was the 5.
And that's cut if you leave all the raises,
120.
so we need to raise it
Plus,
separate to
you
know
know,
what's
it's the
real.
motel that wasn't there.
Thing is, we're not figure what raises we're trying to get.
10,000. It was Razor River Road.
That's what I'm wondering.
So that's where they started there. Okay. But that is
Let them take the raises, 75, let them figure out what the difference is. And then if we have a surplus, that's what we'll have.
cut that down.
Or we can go back to 13 and do another round, check it again. And then we'll have whatever that surplus is to.
And they only have.
But we need to keep thinking about If there's money for raises, what does that look like? You're gonna look at the wage study, you're gonna look at by groups, individuals, you're gonna look at departments, I mean,
I think.
across the board, or you're gonna do something with the low, mid, and high, or you're gonna, I mean,
To only have it.
all that has to be
This year,
considered.
and we're sitting to have 1.4.
But we need to know
So
what
we
we're
would be
working with.
completely fine dropping that down.
What they're about to use there, it's like some of the similar.
No, it's. a
Last
low-
year, what'd you do? You did percentages last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, Chris.
What, where we at as far as cuts?
Oh, I just figured. Oh, there's my papers. Okay, so with having the $1 million on reserve, you still need to cut $340,350.
Do you have any idea what all the raises were in the general?
I know the longevity, that's it.
Is there a way we can have you add that up so that we know? Well, it's just gonna be easy, I mean, not easy for you, but easier for us if we know what that total in raises is versus how much.
That's probably something that, well, I mean, maybe that if you can let me do that tonight, because like
That's what I
I said,
mean.
I do
I
have
mean,
an
is that, I
appointment.
mean, but if you
And I
can
can
email
work
it
on
to
that
us,
tonight.
and then we can be start tomorrow and we can do another
I can
round of
have it
cuts
ready
if we
for it
need
for you
to, or
tomorrow,
we need to go
yeah.
back through each one, I think, and really look it over.
I mean, if you guys wanted for the next hour, if you're gonna stay, okay, so you've got the 340,
We could go back through another time.
well, or you guys can work, well, I guess no, not really, because then the lit on that. So you still have 340, 350, 340,350 to keep the $1 million. I do want to reiterate, and you can close your ears if you want, because I know we don't agree on this. But I do feel, I'm trying to explain this to you as easy as I can. This time last year, Pam's goal was for us to have 800 on reserve. So basically, after you expended what you're bringing in and all your cash value, all that stuff, and based off of our projection for right now, we are supposed to have close to 1.5 million in the general fund. To be exact, $1,486.10, or $100, sorry. $1,486,100, sorry, I'm getting tired. So what I'm trying to explain is that this time last year, you really only thought, this group only thought that they were gonna have 800,000 on reserve. And we're looking to have close to 1.5, because there's other income with the changes we've made with interest. There's, different things. I get we're gonna have additional appropriations, but if you take the numbers that we have right now, we are projected to be at one, if we asked everything, and we're not giving everything that was in the book, but if you take our ending cash balance, we'll just round for easy figures, 1.4 million. We're estimated to bring in 6.4, so plus 6.4. Everything that was asked for in the book, that's 6.7. That gives you $1.1 million, okay? And in here, rounding up with those extra hundreds, it actually says 1.2. So what I'm trying to explain to you is not even to look at that. If we stayed on the same path that we did last year and said, hey, we want to have 800,000 on reserve, it's possible, because we said last year thinking we were only going to have 800 on reserve, and we're projected right now to have close to 1.5. So what I am saying is I do not feel we need to do the 680 that we started with. Like I told you yesterday, I feel that number can be dropped down to 480. And then we would have at 800 be our reserve, if that makes sense. Like I said, we thought we were going to have 800, and we're projected to have 1.5. There's other things. We've done the change with the interest, all that. I understand that that's not a guarantee, but I feel that we would be okay with the 800. That's your all's decision, but that's where I think your next training point is going. Are you guys gonna stay with the fact that we still need to cut 340,000 from general? Or are you gonna say that, oh, we only need to cut 140?
I would like to stay with the $1 million. Even though last year they projected 800 and just spend what we're bringing in, because at this, with our current cash balance, it's showing around 18%, and the state says, David, that we should have 25 to 35%, so we're working towards that. We're not there, and I think the previous councils have done a good job of continuing to work and build that cash value so that we can get closer to the 25 to 35% that we need, but right now, if we leave it the way it is right here, we'll have 18%, and I don't want to go backwards. I just feel like we should only be spending what we're bringing in. And then there's probably going to come a point where you'll say, okay, we'll have a discussion. Once we get to the 25 to 35%, is that enough? And then what does that look like? You know, if we just continue to bring this in, does the tax need to be lower? Is there something else? We'll have those discussions at that time, but I just, I really don't want to dip into what has been built up, and no disrespect at all. It's just a different viewpoint.
It is a different viewpoint.
I just would like to only spend what we're bringing in and not dip into reserve. So, especially since they're made so much progress, and I think you would agree that there has been a lot of progress working
We've brought in
forward.
a $250,000 in interest in 9 months.
So we might get to that 25 to 30%.
So that's
quicker
added
even,
funds
you know,
in the
but
general.
once we're there, we're comfortable to do more things, but.
Yeah. So,
Now, I'm not in favor of giving a raise. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying what I would prefer to do is to have you work up those numbers tonight at $1 million and tell us what that looks like. And then come back or stay and go over everything again and then see what we have left to distribute as increases. And you guys need to be thinking about or we as a council need to be thinking about, what does that look like? Is that looking at the wage study, looking at other counties? The wage study, I feel like the wage study is skewed because it shows population. It shows us, but we'll just use an example, us compared to Spencer County. We're only a few hundred different in population. You would think, okay, we're very similar, but our assessed value theirs is 3 times ours. So their revenue coming in is significantly higher than ours. So they can afford to pay a lot more. Not that we shouldn't try to work towards some kind of plan to get everybody, to where they need to be, because I do think that we do. I do, I think our county employees are deserving, and there's some, if you look at the wage study, they're all over the spectrum. They put them in groups, and they'll say like, there's one group that's secretaries, admin assistants, and clericals, and some are way low and some are way high. And we need to try to close the gap for the groups that Wagner, Shealy, Irwin has identified as, by their job descriptions, Wagner, Shealy, Irwin put them together and said, this group of people are very similar in their duties. And when I talked to her, she said, you shouldn't have some that are way low and some that are way high. I'm not suggesting moving anybody backwards. I'm just suggesting closing the gap.
Need to have continuity in the wages, according to what you're doing.
And it may take, a 3-year plan to say, okay, this is what we're gonna work towards. Some of the increases are really significant, and it's really hard to do all that in 1 year. So that's just where I stand.
Yeah.
Not that I'm against the raise, that's not what I mean. I just wanna, it's a different approach.
So
So you'll work that up, or tonight?
yeah, I'm getting ready to leave here because like I said, I got an appointment at 3:15, so I gotta hurry on down. So, really honestly, then there's really not a whole lot unless you guys go through it and
Should
try
we
to
go back again?
I really don't know where else you're gonna scrape. I really feel like you did as much as you can, unless you guys
I
wanna.
think that we ought to think about it, what have you. don't know that there's I guess we could burn our paging through, but I don't know where we're gonna cut a whole lot of stuff.
Maybe everybody just kind of look through it on their own
I think we
tonight.
ought to really all think about what Chris has told us. Think real hard about that. I mean,
Dipping,
I'm not saying that Kelly's wrong.
spending more than you receive.
Technically, we're not. I don't,
I mean, I don't see, I don't
Well, I
look
mean,
at
it's
it as
okay, it's
that.
taking your reserve and going backwards. I mean,
I think we need to look at these wages. Some of them, you know, like $7,000 increase, we need to look at some of those and see, you know, why, or maybe they've moved around and, you know, got rid of employees or whatever.
if you look at general
Well, we need to look.
individually, if you look, sorry, Stan, sorry, I'm just thinking. If you look at general individually, from the revenue to expenditures, which is there, the 6.4 to 6.7, the general was only over 247,000. For
I'm looking
revenue.
at individual raises,
Oh, I'm talking about
yeah.
She's looking at the big picture.
the big picture,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're looking at the big picture. I'm looking at the detail.
So, all right,
I do think, you know, there are employees who have made changes, they've decreased their employees. That's something we've asked them to do. And I think those should be rewarded somehow, you know. But I, you know, I don't know what that raise is, but I think that's something we've asked and, you know, that's,
Yeah, I don't think it's fair that they do it.
Huh.
They do it, and then we
By
don't,
and large, they've done what we asked of them.
right.
then when we say, well, good job, we're not
But
gonna
I'm not in favor without not looking
reward.
at what all the interest or the wage increases
and I
are.
do have to say, the department heads did use the information that was given to them. You know, they did a lot of the homework beforehand, you know, and I tried to put as much notes in there to give you guys in there. Now, granted, we've got more accurate information with this fact book since I put the budget book together, but that's nothing to say that we can't spend tomorrow going through that and, you know, we're just gonna have to not.
I think once we know what we're, you know, what we're working with, and then I think overnight, everyone needs to think of a plan, you know, like what's some approaches that you think you wanna do?
So you're
like what
wanting
you
the
said.
grand total of what it would cost, because I put you guys that spreadsheet together, which I have got to
I
go.
want, if you removed all those, what is that total? Or if you
So-
added them all up?
So you're wanting to know the grand total overall or by, because you've got, I mean, I don't know if anybody's looked at the information
Well,
that
staff
my
would be-
office put together, which was not easy. This is a lot of work and a lot of double checking, and I know I sent a couple revisions, which I do apologize, just things that were missed because we originally did them on 27 pays, then we switched to 27. I mean, my office
Right.
started on this in June. So I've given you guys a lot of that information right there where you can compare each location, each job at a snapshot. Now, mind you, this is the information from the wage study. So I gave you guys the papers on the fact book. So you just pull that fact book out and look at that, and that's a little bit more accurate information. I mean, I don't really
But I
know
s-
what more I can give you
But I
guys.
still feel like the wage study, we have to consider that we don't have the assessed value that some of these communities that we're comparing ourselves to. We just don't. I can give that spreadsheet. I can send that out.
And I get that completely, but to be honest, we still all live in the same world and still have the same expenses, and this is not part-time, this is our livelihood. So just take that into consideration. So I
We
gotta
still
go.
have to fund this.
I completely agree.
I'll send that around. I'll send the assessed values by population and county, so you can kind of see when you look at the wage study, it looks like we're very comparable to Spencer, but our incomes are not.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, that's the way
a
it's
little,
always been.
I'm a little
That's-
upset about that, actually, from the wage study.
And a lot of our assessed valuations, in fact, you got about 55,000.
In our TIF districts.
force.
Our TIF districts are big.
And I want people to have raises too, but I think of it like this, I worked here in this county and made less money because I didn't want to drive to another hospital. So you gotta kind of look at it like that. There's a benefit to working here. You know, not that I don't want people to
I
have
was
raises, I
wondering
do.
if maybe even we could do something like figure out what's left, distribute raises based on that, however we want to do it. But, you know, if you want to look at the lows to the highs, or you want to, you know, I'm not really in favor of across the board personally. Because I think it
I
just
don't think
spreads the
that's
gap.
right either.
But I think if we looked at what we had remaining, I think we should give this a good look again. I'm gonna do that tonight. But I think if we looked at what we had remaining and figured out a plan to distribute that, and then what if we say, okay, if we can be very efficient next year, that's 2024, and people can really try to stay, you know, within their budgets and even find cuts or, you know, alleviate some of the general and say, I just won't spend that, I'll get it out of some of these extras, then we could do a stipend in the fourth quarter and say, if, you know, maybe we can say, we can come up with an extra, I don't know, I don't even want to say the amount, but there could be, if we can do some additionals and leave some of this stuff and do a stipend, because that's a one-time thing. And if we can continue to be efficient, we could reward that in that manner. And in that way, it's not in addition to, and we have to every year and then come up with the funding. So maybe some sort of raise and then do some stipend.
And the thing is,
That's what I'm thinking.
we got to think about the taxpayer you meet on the street and they come and say, where did they get a $7,000 raise? I've never got a $7,000 raise. I mean, that's a lot. And we have to think about that. We've got to go through each one of these budgets, and unless you want to do a percentage, you know, because it's going to take a lot. We'll be here a lot, and I
mean,
don't
that's
care.
That's part of our job.
That's part of our job. But,
I would be in
you
favor
know,
of finding out what we have and then
if
if we can be
future,
efficient doing stuff.
if future council members, you know, we're not here forever, you know, it would have to be sustained all the way through it. You know, I don't think that they
So
will do it.
basically, are you wanting to know, okay, we know the longevity was 51,000
Just
overall.
take
Are
the
you
other
wanting
time.
just one total for
Yeah.
all? Okay. I might do that. I'll see if I can match.
And then we can
Chris.
see what we have to cut versus this, and then if there's a positive balance, then what is that? And then some of them you'll have to take out like the SAPs, and you know, that doesn't count. We'll still have to look at those. And I would rather do that, see what we have, figure a way to distribute it, and then if we can be efficient next year, and we can, like I said, maybe not spend some of this general, and instead, I don't know, figure out ways to do that.
Of course, when you're looking at this,
If there's,
you have to remember there are a few departments who have decreased their employees going forward in 2024. So you gotta take that into consideration
well,
when
that's
you're,
part of how do you wanna work the wage, you know,
when you're trying
with what you
to
have.
determine how much of an
Yep.
increase it is.
If it's not across the board.
But there's not a
what
lot
is
of them that are like that way, but I know we had the auditor, we had the clerk. Well, that's probably only one. Well,
The clerk did it,
jail, I don't know.
clerk's done it, and the
Sure,
auditor's done it. They
They've
just
had
had her half.
they decreased.
Just be thinking about what that looks like if you're not, it's gonna be a lot more work to not just doing across the board, but that's our job. That's what we should be doing. We should be thinking in that way. What does that look like? That's why I wish, Wagner, Shilly, Irwin said that they had plans for how to take this wage study and different ways to do it, and we just weren't told about them. They asked and they said it wasn't needed, and I said, it's definitely needed.
Well,
You paid for it. It was part of your contract.
yeah, most
said you
companies just give a certain percentage.
You said
You
you
know,
didn't have a
It's too
part
hard
of
to
the
go
wage study.
individual.
What part did you have?
I have the second part.
We can-
There's two parts. There's shows the counties and where you're comparable, and then there's the part with the categories.
Oh, well, that's all. That was all in one, though.
Well, no, I have two different things.
I know, but it was all presented at one time.
Well, for some reason, I only had one part.
I was thinking well, am I missing something? But I don't think I
I'll
am.
send it to you.
I think I had the whole thing.
I wasn't here for all that, so I didn't know, so I only got part of it, I thought. No, what I'm saying, the part that's missing is the contract was not only for the wage study, but the implementation afterwards on how, some ideas on how to implement the wage
Oh,
study.
maybe I don't have that.
You don't have it because when I talked to Wagner Shieldy Irwin, they said that they were getting ready to schedule that meeting or they wanted to talk about it or whatever, and they were told that they didn't need that part. I said, we definitely need that part to put a plan
Yeah,
together.
they
So she
decided
said
not
they'd
to.
be willing to do a Zoom call with all of us and a
They just-
meeting, like a Zoom meeting, where we can discuss those options on how to do a 3-year plan or whatever to get people where they need to be.
I would just like to leave thoughts in your mind. If you look at first deputies and second deputies' salaries, just their salaries. If they are single parents, they qualify for government assistance. Most of our single people that live on their own have to have 2 or 3 jobs just to survive being a county employee. So it's not like we're making a fortune.
I don't think
So-
anybody said that. That's
So
not really
just keep
fair.
that in mind when you're looking at everything. It's not like they're being paid an exorbitant salary.
And I can vouch for that. I've been a single parent. I couldn't afford to live on my own. Gracious, thank God I have my parents to live with, because when I was divorced with 2 kids, yes, I got child support. The child support wasn't going for anything but what it is supposed to go for. I wouldn't have made it if I didn't have my parents.
Can I just say one thing? You
Oh,
have
yes.
begged and begged and begged us to cut.
Right.
And we made the big cuts. We made some sacrifices. And we're all willing to pay some of our salaries, the raises out of other funds. I don't think it's right that I've been here 42 years. Every year, Jane, we got a bad budget. We don't have any money. We're gonna have to cut. I've heard it 42 years. And we have cut like you asked us to. We have sacrificed like you've asked us to. I think, and like we said, I was single. I couldn't make it. I had to do a second job. Guys, you can't make it on those wages. Right now, my second deputy, $30,000. You bring home $20,000. Now you try to live on $20,000 a month. I had to go to low-income housing when I worked for the county. So I'm just telling you, I've heard it for 40 years and we sacrificed for 40 years and we've made the cuts.
I got free and reduced lunches at the school. I qualified. It's embarrassing.
You wanna do a second pass through the book?
We can.
I mean, or do you wanna do that on our own tonight, or? I still think people maybe be thinking of, all those things.
And no one
What
has
it
said
looks
that we're
like.
not getting raises.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're going to get yet.
Right.
Until we look at the whole
Until
picture.
we look at how much,
So-
yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to do it.
Something.
Something, I don't know.
We may have to take a vote on, what Chris mentioned, and,
Just thinks this is true. Do a combination.
I mean, I still like the idea of doing with what we have and then doing a stipend later if we can be efficient. I mean, if the revenues, come in more than we thought, we'll have that and we're efficient through next year, then do it in the fourth quarter. So a raise of some increment and then potential stipend. I really like that. That way we're not locked into it if something happens and it blows up next year. Yeah. I think that's more than fair. For now, I mean, and then we do need to get a plan. I do think we need to talk to Wagner, Shieldy, Irwin, and figure out, I don't know why this didn't happen, this other half of this stuff.
we don't have that right now.
After this, I mean. So look at like a 3-year plan, or what does it look like? I don't know what their suggestions are. I tried to get them on the phone last week with a suggestion. She said, oh, well, we have to meet. And I said, well, maybe we could get a Zoom call before the budget. And then there were so many meetings. She tried. She said, maybe I could do this day, but it was, end of the day after a 5-hour hearing. Not figuring
Yeah,
out
and
what to
they
do
had
that.
to come next year, you know.
I've never seen different percentages given unless it was performance by evaluation.
We have to be careful with that, if I understood her correctly. And it needs to be by category, by rule. We can call her tomorrow, get her on the phone. But you know how I was saying, like, I'll just take the admin assistants, the clerical, and the secretaries. They had them all kind of grouped together, and Wagner Shealy did that based on the job descriptions. They put certain positions in groups. Did you see it? And she said, now what you can't do is go picking and choosing out of that group and say, well, I'm gonna give this one, and this one, this one. She said, you don't wanna go there because that could lead to discrimination. What you can do is set a rule for that group. Okay, all the lows are going to the mid, or, you know, whatever you wanna do to try to get the gap closer. But it has to be something for all of them, the same rule, like, okay, this is what we're gonna do if we're mids and we wanna go to highs, or somewhere in between there, or a certain percentage for all those people, whatever. She didn't recommend a percentage across the board. She said you're doing yourself no good and you're just spreading the gap. So, and I agree with that. Because the low wage earners make the least and the high wage earners get the biggest increase.
I just don't know how to do it fair.
Well, that's technically not, I mean, it is fair, but it's just making it worse
Yeah.
for the ones with the same type jobs. Somehow she knew what we did last year, and she said
That wasn't right.
that, well, it's not that it's not right, it's just kind of made it a little worse. It just,
It's like,
yeah,
Why-
when you're trying to get groups of people together.
That's that way on
we did
almost
make,
every company,
we did make some improvements in
every
the
company
first
I
deputy.
work with, they get.
Last year we did,
Did you do all the first deputies? Is that what?
yes, we did.
Okay, so see something like that, I think you can do because you're doing it across the board for the same,
Didn't we, Kelly? Last year
you're
we-
doing it across the board for the same job time, so that's a little different.
We did do that, and that was part of our, you know, we knew that when we did this wage study that we were not going to be able to bring everybody up immediately on 1 year. We knew that, and it was gonna take us 2 or 3 years probably, or.
Yeah, there needs to be a plan, there needs to be whether it's a 2-year plan, 3-year plan, 5, whatever it is. And I think we need to have that conversation with them. It won't work for this, but
We gave larger raises in the, I think, sheriff department. It was
You approved their whole budget.
8%,
You approved their, whatever it was.
it was like 8%, I think, a lot of those.
Last year we did big,
And we increased the part-time. I don't know what you do.
You gotta
lots
sustain
to
it
think about.
year after year.
And that's why I don't want to dip in the reserve, because I just don't know until and I would like this reserve to get to where it's supposed to be, 25 to 35%. We're getting better at 18. It's much better than it was.
One of my concerns is how much additional appropriations are we gonna have through the end of the
Well,
year?
we still have 40,000 a month. We have health returns. We have, and the other thing is the insurance, our health insurance as of May was projected to be 250,000 over. I don't know where we're at, if that's gotten better or worse or on track. That's gotta be paid out of somewhere.
Update that, what, in October?
When do they give us those, like where we're at with our current insurance? It might just been because they asked.
Oh,
You know what I
to see
mean?
what we're gonna do
Like the,
next year?
no, for now, like the projections. Like in May, they gave a projection and said you guys are about 250 over what where it
That'll
should
be
be
the same time when they tell us the other in October.
in October. And then we may have to come up with an additional for that. I mean, depending on, that's the scary part, because if they come up and say, if we were 250 over, and this is just a scenario, if we were 250 over in May, if they're saying by December, we're gonna be another 250, where's the 500 coming from? It's gonna come from the
Do you have
reserve.
a feel, is the insurance kind of, is it getting
It's
better?
kind of
Leveling off?
Mhm,
So it's gotten a little better.
mhm.
So we might not be as bad, but it might still be the 250 instead of, but I mean, that has to come out of the reserve.
Right.
So I don't wanna mess with the reserve.
That'll just be added to next year. It's not like you're gonna have to pay more You'll just have to increase it next year. So what you mean? Yeah.
And then, something else, what was it, David? We don't know what healthcare is gonna be until October. They projected a 10% increase. I'm hopeful it's not more than that.
We never know. We never know.
Well, they're gonna tell us though, a new projection. It could be 20, it could be less. I don't think it's gonna be less, but
No.
One thing you alluded to, like, and then this is, I'm not saying this, it does give you some insight. Similar population,
yeah. I
our
know.
maximum levy, Perry County is 5 million, whatever. Spencer County's maximum levy is 10 million.
Yeah.
But, you know,
But it doesn't cost anything different for
No.
people to live here than it does there. I
No.
mean, they still gotta pay their bills.
It doesn't,
it's just what they've got,
but we
$10
don't have
million,
the same
we have 5
revenue.
million.
I realize that, but they've still got.
So then we need to cut our expenses further.
Yeah.
I mean, that would work if we dig back in this and cut, but what is it? I mean, I'm willing to look at it again.
We'll know more tomorrow. Well,
I don't think,
Yeah,
I
this
don't
is-
think we can make enough cuts to get where what you want. I mean, you can't cut goods and services,
So much, that's it.
you know.
Yeah, like this was off the deal, DF. I think you got it. And it was, Perry County's 19,183, Spencer County 19,967, just a few hundred more.
But even.
But our assessed value
You'd have not told that.
estimate, adjusted net assessed value next
1,500
year.
of them in Rentsville.
oh, that's true.
Well, you're right. That's true. So is 775 million. They're
They're
2,076
They're
million.
including the census, but they're not productive.
So that's why it's also important we gotta grow. That's how we get it. And you're right, part of it is that, part of it is TIF districts, part of it is we're not growing. We've got to grow. Right?
Your assessed valuation needs to grow.
That's right.
That's been a topic all these
Get
years.
people to move
We
here,
haven't
get, you know,
known
get more industry, get more job, businesses,
So how can we do that?
families. Well, you gotta take a different
Who's
approach.
supposed to be doing that?
Well, we hire economic development,
Yeah.
so we have to switch
Yeah, we
things
have
up
to-
with,
yeah.
maybe we have to change different approach and say what we've been doing is not, maybe we've been maintaining, but we really need to grow. And maybe, we say that when you be thinking of that, if you have ideas for what we can do there. That's what they have.
All right.
But that's outside the budget
So are
right
you
now.
wanting to do anything else with the budget?
No,
We can't do anything.
we only got a half an hour.
Are we gonna adjourn then, or what?
Yeah, either we do something.
Keith
or we
already
won't.
has.
Well, I don't think we adjourned, did we? I hope not, because we're
He's
talking.
already left. Keith has left the building.
He's over
Right
there.
Oh, there he is. Oh, okay.
He just left the chair.
No, I was wondering, do you wanna look at anything else in the book? Or
I mean,
do you-
We can for half an hour
Okay,
and
we
see,
look at.
why not? I mean, it's gonna have to. We can go back through, you wanna go back through the journal, or, it's not gonna hurt anything, just for a second.
You just wanna go back to the beginning?
What are we doing?
These two boys were.
It's easier to keep track of when you go to the beginning, and you
Right.
take one right after the other. I was getting lost there for a while, bouncing around.
Okay, you wanna look at the cards?
Mhm.
Page 1. What did we do here?
Let's see. Okay.
We removed the longevity, we took the 90.
Let's. 95.
We removed a portion of the clerical.
Oh, we need to, okay, make sure we didn't add anything.
But this is all right.
I mean,
Oh, and some of the others.
yeah,
Well, that would.
I know it doesn't help.
This
but-
is all part of the general, so we're all right there. Actually, well, we took away from this, and we added it to the, oh, where did we add? Did we take it?
Oh, we did say just take it out of perpetuation. I think,
Clerk's record perpetuation,
you can't,
we added 16,000 for clerical.
we gotta take that out. That's what I mean, we need to go back and check that.
Yeah, because we
So
can't
that's on
raise
every
that.
fund, not just
Right,
that one.
how many
Can't
did we do?
readjust.
What do you mean?
So
Are
on every fund that you've
we- are we
advertised,
sure we
it's just
cannot
not,
do that?
that's what Chris was, I think, was gonna check to see.
Yeah, I
Because
think-
your first reading, is that what they were saying?
We
But
need to
how are
check
you
that,
supposed, yeah,
because at that first,
It's just a draft.
yeah, and, I mean, in the past, you had to have adjusted that way, right?
I think so.
Just that one fund, which I'm not sure, I don't remember which one she was talking
Yeah, before we
about.
do anything with that, we need to check, make sure that's correct.
Cause Chris was thinking that you should be able to adjust these.
I thought you could adjust until you turn in your Form 4B.
Give a second reading for
That's due after this is over, right?
Your final to
Yeah.
get your approval.
So that's,
Oh, you mean like in October or whenever it's due? I think it's something worth checking because I'm not gonna take one
Okay.
person's opinion or they could be confused on, maybe they're not.
It doesn't hurt to check it before we,
No,
Yeah,
but we need to make note that if we do have to, we'll have, how many of those do we have? I don't think there was a lot, was there?
we had this in the clerk and then we did the, can we have one in the auditor?
What's that?
Where we moved
Funds off the
funds
general
off the
into
general
the
into like that
perpetuation.
perpetuation.
We don't know that we can do that or not without an additional appropriation.
It'd be the clerk and recorder, probably do the recorder, didn't we?
I think he said, Chris is gonna check.
Cume Cap was the only one she mentioned, right, that she didn't think that we could do
Right.
anything with. Once it was
Oh,
advertised.
was it only because that was,
There's a separate-
Is it because?
yeah, maybe that's why.
That's what Chris was wondering, if it was just Cume Cap that can't be adjusted, that's the only one you can't, that
That
has to
could be.
stay.
And she's gonna check on that.
So, yeah, I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna send her a text.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah,
could very
that'll
well be
affect the
because your
final
Q
number.
cap is a tax, is part of,
Yeah.
because it's a little different animal, the Q cap,
It's its own thing.
has its own.
Bless you, bless you.
Yeah.
We also adjusted the surveyor's corner perpetuation, put everything in there.
We talked about, did we do something with the SAP? Supplemental appropriation?
Not yet, we were
We
going
talked
to,
about that.
but then, since that came up, we stopped.
But once we find out, well, no, we need to know from Lucy, first of all, what can be.
Or what she,
Salaries, part of the salary, she did.
we
say
know
could
that.
be.
and
Yeah, but I mean,
And she said if any of the others to discuss.
She's talking about maybe
doing.
some supplies or something, possibly.
furniture,
Or something.
we can,
I mean, she has office equipment of
But that
like
can-
1,000 in
I
here.
mean, that could help the general and the circuit
Yeah.
court. Let's look at the circuit court and see what we might be able to ask her to. You know, if we look at that and, where is it?
19.
I'm almost there. See if there's anything we could ask Lucy to get out of that SAP fund. Wouldn't hurt to ask.
19.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is the one like Steve, she was talking.
It's like office supplies, 2,000, jury supplies, I mean, can we get that, you know, I don't know. Proper attorney, you know, just. I'm teasing them about that. Postage, that's a lot.
Corporate attorney's not in here. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is.
On the very bottom.
Well, what is that then?
31104.
I mean, geez, David. I mean, some of those things down there at the bottom, you know, I don't know, maybe they could be. Law books, I mean, can that be? I don't know.
Is she gonna check on that?
We need to give her a list and ask her. She
Oh,
doesn't know what we're asking. If we put a list together, we could ask.
She's supposed to be looking to see what.
Oh, she is? Okay, so she's not waiting on us for a list to say?
No, I think she was gonna be checking tomorrow to
That's what I
find out
thought.
what can be taken out of that fund
From the circuit court? Or just in general?
in general.
Okay. Well, that could be helpful, because that's a big. I mean, and I think next year we really need to think about that, like the one-time fixed expenses. Taking things, and even as the additionals come in, taking them from those, if we can, if it's allowed. We don't need to forget that, because that
and if
helps.
there's revenue there or cash there.
Well, there's quite a few
Which
that
there
are.
are in several,
And I don't mean take their salaries forever,
Right.
because I don't want some of these with low balances to be taking salaries, because that's not sustainable. Then you're fooling yourself. But like the surveyors at 144, yeah, for 14,000, that lasts a while.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
because who brings that in?
right. Just some don't.
Right.
But we need to be thinking that way as much as possible. Or really help the general. And come on, do more stuff. So we'll just, the circuit court, we'll let her decide, you know, Lucy can figure out what would be eligible or possibly be eligible. And we don't do community corrections because it's a grant.
Correct.
yeah.
I guess we,
Talking about things, I couldn't tell there though, wasn't she? What did she say
Community
about?
corrections, the,
oh yeah,
drug testing screening
Yeah,
or whatever. They help with that because the court doesn't have one.
oh, not paying, they just help out. They just help do
They're
that.
doing the
Correct.
technician's
Correct.
job.
Yes.
They're adding that to their job duties.
Yes.
Wonder if they're getting stipend or pay, you know, asking through the grant for that.
I don't know how they work up their grant. I don't know.
Since they're grant funded, would we be able to, if they may not want to do it, you know, all the time, but like if they would take on those duties, could some of that staff be paid over to that? I don't know. A little stipend or something if a couple of them
I don't know
wanted to
the
be those people.
regulations of SAPS or their grant. You'd have to ask a lot of different people about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on there, and they may not want to do it. I'm just saying, if they're doing it now,
I don't know how much they are doing it, because I know they said probation.
Just like filling in.
Yeah.
So David, did you say tonight you'll have some time to look at some of the
take the numbers.
wages?
I'm going to plan on it.
Okay,
I don't know if I have time, but
okay, that's the thing.
After you make my Hickory net 5? No. Teasing. Okay, what's another one you wanna look at? I already looked at the clerk, I don't see anything.
well, you follow auditors and there. There's nothing
I
really
mean, they've really cut.
there. Treasurer,
She didn't have much, nowhere to cut, really.
Quarter. It's just salary.
And then said quarter, she said.
She should be at
No, three-quarter.
sheriff.
Mm-mm. I don't know.
What are we looking at there?
I mean, that's one that we need to look at.
Xing one out of those. Is that the one where they're asking for 11 deputies?
No, they asked for 10.
Tenth and 11th, but this is just the 10th.
This is as a 10.
And then they asked for the 10th in another spot that was taken out.
And we're gaining half of the cops grant for 9 deputies. What are we paying?
It's going away.
So we're paying the full, so just make it
Right,
roughly
so
half.
we're actually adding, if you would add 2 deputies, you would add 2.5 on the book.
Right.
It's technically only 2 people, but,
So adding 2 on the road.
right. But salary wise, we're gonna have to pay for 2.5.
Right.
Well, 3, but we're already paying for half of one.
Of course, and coming with that is the benefits, the health
I mean,
benefits, the
I
pension.
still think we need to consider the $30 an hour, maybe bump it down to what the others are making, the 27, you know,
What Tell City and Calhoun did.
Tell City's
they've
going-
asked, they haven't.
Well, very,
They haven't.
very rarely, it's not in the city.
Cal City's at 27.50, Calhoun's at 27.
Do you think they were going to increase it
They are going
They asked.
to what?
30-25 and 30-50.
Did that go through?
It will.
It hasn't went through. It's proposed.
They're already at their max.
Huh?
They're already at their max.
What? Not what?
I mean, if you cut, you can have new part-time people, but they've already at the max.
They've already agreed to work for $30 an hour.
They've already
You
been
can't
given
give
that.
them a pay cut.
Correct.
I guess you could, but they may quit.
Even Cal City.
We gotta
No.
have, we've gotta have part-time. We need part-time as much as we
Part-time
need
is already
full-time.
at the max of $30 an hour.
We're already paying them 30 right now?
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, I thought 25 was approved.
No,
No,
it
30 was approved.
Yeah, and they started them at 25, but they had up to 30 last year.
Just the last year's council
Mhm.
did that.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah, we're ready.
So now we're gonna do the starting at 30?
So we can
And it's
get,
gonna go to
so we
what?
can get guys to do it.
I don't know if they're requesting
Because I
this
mean,
year,
it's
it's still
different
at,
than
it's still at a
Perry
range
County
between
than what it is
25 and
Tell
30.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Or
So
even
they
the
have
hospital.
that, but the
Hospital's
people that are
paying
there now
$30
are
an
at the
hour.
30, the part-time.
so it's not like it's gonna start at 30 and go to 35.
Let me see what they're,
We need to
Right
clarify
now,
that,
it's
if we're starting at 30 now, is it gonna go, you've been there or whatever?
It'd be
I don't know, I
$30 is top
understand.
pay. $30 is top pay.
But you said they're already paying 30.
That's the max though.
Yeah, there's a max.
We had to go back and they come back, I guess, and ask.
But that-
I didn't realize that, I
that's
thought it was 25.
Well, you were saying
in,
that.
in their
that's what I was
budget, they're
thinking.
asking for part-time
That's
deputy
the meeting I
sheriff
watched.
up to $30.
What's it
Up
say?
to 30.
Up to 30.
And right now it's up to,
30.
So they haven't changed it for this year. That's what they approved for last year, and they're requesting the same thing for this year.
Most
I
of
didn't know
them-
what you did last year, I thought you were 25, that's what I.
Most of them are
I
getting
saw it went from
experienced
20 to 25.
officers, you know, they're pulling from
Oh, no.
Tell City. So,
Did they, what did that read?
That's strange.
Read that again.
This is what they're requesting for this year.
The
I
what
don't
was
have
last-
what was
Oh,
last
okay.
year's. But it was up to 30 also. I don't know what it started at, but it was up to 30. Is what it read
So-
last
So
year
have they
also.
done, did they start 25 and then they raised it to 30 over time, for the, just in a year?
I don't know how long these people have been there.
I would
part-time.
think it would be their experience level coming in. You know,
Could be.
I mean,
That's what Tell City does.
yeah,
They have
I
longevity.
mean, usually they hire
Tell City
experienced
has with their part-time. they
people
have-
that pull part-time jobs, so
Experience.
they're at the max.
I didn't realize that. I thought we were at 25.
They started at 25, but the budget was always, they could go up to 30. I mean, they have a set amount that they.
And this is no more than 30, so it's no different. Yeah. Okay,
How many part-time do you have?
I'm glad you told me that, because I was thinking it was a $5 increase. Because the meeting I watched, it was a 20 and 25 at that time. Doesn't seem like it was last year though, maybe a year and a half ago or so.
I recall going to 30 last year, so we could kind of entice them to come to the county versus going to the city.
But there for a long time, they were getting hired on deputies, county, they going to work to the city police.
They still have that.
Yeah, they pay better.
Yeah, that's the reason for the increase to 30.
I think everybody needs to look at the wage study and figure out, once we have that number, what's the approach? By category, across the board, individual, look at the low, median, highs. What's the plan?
If you go individual, man, that's, it'll take a
I
long
mean,
time.
I mean by categories, really.
By
I
category,
don't think you should do individual. I didn't mean it like that. I
By
meant,
category, that's like, it's doable. We kind of did a little bit of that last year.
you did like first deputies, I think is what you were saying,
Yeah,
and,
which is the reason we were doing that was we were trying to narrow that gap.
and that's what the lady from Wagner Shelley Irwin said we should do.
Keep working that direction.
Trying to work to keep the people in the same, what they consider the same job description, doing the same type duties as close as possible, so we're not having them all across the board. And that's if you wanna go by the wage study, which is why you did it, I think. But still have to consider the revenue. We may be able to get there, it just may take a little longer, may take a couple years. I think that should be the goal, is to get there.
You know, I'm new to this, so I'll just, kind of listen, but I think there's gonna have to be a compromise where, you'd like to see our, at 1 million, and we're presently on the track for 800,000, right?
No, they
no,
projected 800 and we're anticipated we can, depending on how much we have in additionals, we don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
We could have 1 million.
She said 1.5 million, but there's gonna
Well,
be additional
Right, so
appropriations.
just bring it down to 1 million just in case. It could be a little better even.
So,
we don't
if you take half of that, take 100,000 and apply it toward, I know it's not what you're shooting for.
Yeah.
But, we're trying to help.
And then next year, what do we do?
And
Do it
well,
again?
try to do the same thing, try to
Try to maybe go in half
right.
next
Yeah.
year.
But we don't know the expenses next year outside of the budget. We don't know
Right,
what
well, we
healthcare is gonna
we'll
be.
never know
So
total expenses.
$1 million, we think that's a lot.
Mhm.
Not when you have healthcare bills and you don't know
We've budgeted,
I know.
we've got on here, that million is totally separate.
I understand,
From
I understand.
that
We
cash.
have that budgeted there, but it doesn't take a lot. I mean, when you have, being self-funded, it's a lot different than fully funded.
Yeah.
One or two things,
I'm thinking, try to get to where you're
Serious.
wanting in maybe a 3-year period as opposed to now. Just trying to get some of the raises, looking at what, and maybe at the lower end, see how far 100,000
we just need to
would
see
go.
what's left, if there's something left in the positive after this and what we're working with.
Because that million for the health that we have, that is what our broker has suggested that we budget for. So that is worst case scenario.
Right, but we don't know what's next year and.
That's totally separate
I know.
from.
But if there's any overages, just like if the trend continues where we were technically projected to be over as of May 250,000, that will have to come if we end up the end of the year 250,000. I'm just saying. it eats into that. And then hopefully we can get this pauper attorney fee thing in control, cause it's, I mean, it's pretty
Well,
bad
and then
this year.
With the TIF thing, you know, if that assessed value, there's what, $12 million possibly that
Mhm.
we may
With
have
Web
in the
Will,
future.
they did end Web Will this year,
Mhm.
voted to end, but that won't be till
Probably
next
take a
year, which
couple-
is the next year,
It
right?
affected this year.
Right, it'll be
For
next,
25 or when you actually would receive.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it'll just help. It lowers the rate. Mhm. So, we have to grow, that's the bottom line.
So we're talking to, you're like looking at Joe when you were talking about this $1 million or whatever. You're talking about the line item on the insurance, $1 million. So does that stay
That's in the
there?
budget.
In the budget, you're not going to touch that.
It gets you,
That's what our, our claims and our
yeah,
fees and everything come out of.
But you're not talking about reducing that.
No,
no, but as of, but what,
Increase 200,000.
but what's happening is,
No, I know it's
if we're
increasing.
over that, it has to come from somewhere. So if you have $1 million in reserve and you end up over it, you have to take from it. If you're out of money, if you've overspent we don't know, but if you've overspent by the end of the year, where are you gonna get, just say 200,000? It's gonna come off of your cash.
and we don't, I mean,
What's your
you were in
cash?
that meeting, you always stay within that 750 to 800,000 range. We had that meeting last year when Pam was here, and that's what was decided for that instance.
I think that they asked us to increase, I think when they met this year,
That's why we increased the
$1
million.
million, yeah,
for our
they
budget,
asked you, right.
not for the reserve, it was
Right.
for the budget.
And with this reserve at $1 million, it's 18%. So we're getting closer to
But
the,
last year, we actually, in our budget, we decreased that insurance line item.
Mhm. And this year they said you need,
We increased it back to $1 million.
right,
I know, but last year we decreased it during the budget, which helped us
fundraise.
Give us a ton of money.
balance our budget.
Mhm.
But this year you're saying
I mean, it helped
we're gonna leave
fundraise.
that million there. We're
Yeah,
not gonna touch it.
And that's what they're,
suggesting, I think.
So where are we talking about the difference between the 500 and the 300?
In the cash in general, and,
what do you mean, what we have to cut?
Yeah, we're talking cutting like, 500 and Chris is talking cutting 300.
340,
the
I'm just
200,000,
rounding it off.
yeah.
it's on this, David, right here,
If you're wanting to have $1 million in cash, or if you're wanting
In
to
your
have
general fund,
800 in cash.
right here, we're at 18%.
If you're wanting to have the $1 million in cash left over, you still need to cut 340,350. If you're only wanting to have 800 in cash, not the million, you have to cut 140,350. And that's the
Just cutting
difference
into
between the
reserve.
two.
That you've worked to build up. And
But
with
like
it,
you said, you're projected at 1.4.
but what are the additionals for the rest of the year? We know some of them. Some of them can be big. 40,000 a month for September, October, November, December.
You've got two who don't do appropriations in December. Correct?
Right.
Oh, it'll come out next year then. I mean, we'll have to get it next year. You'll just take it out of the budget, is what you're saying, and then hopefully we don't end up short.
Well, hopefully they budgeted.
That's what I mean,
so that
hopefully
it
we don't,
means-
yeah.
Yeah, so you're not having to.
So
do
we
an
won't have
additional for
December,
next
we'll
year.
have September, October, November, 2, not
So we've
September.
already done September, right?
No, we haven't paid September if it's not over, right?
You're not gonna get any more additional appropriations for September, they've already been requested.
Right.
You're gonna
They've
have
already
requests in
been posted.
October and
So we
your
have 80
request
we have
in
80,000.
November.
So there'll be potentially, as long as they're still in the facilities, 80,000, plus whatever pauper and insurance and, or, I don't know if we're over insurance. Technically, they said we were supposed to be over.
Yes.
We also need to look at that, where's the 73,000 deficit coming from? Where's the 250,000 gonna come from for what is needed for the dispatch? next year. That's not budgeted anywhere. I mean, that's real. I mean, you know, this council agreed to the 73,000, and if Steve says the equipment's becoming obsolete, and if it becomes obsolete to where it can't be maintained and it goes down, we can't have that in dispatch. So that
You said
250,
Is occurring in,
either 2024 late or 25, but whether, you know, better plan for it now.
We gotta think about it for sure. But
So
his
that's
thoughts.
250
It may not be,
73.
it could be still up and running at 26.
Well, it's not, I guess the question is, do you want to let it run and risk not being able to have it serviced or parts? And if it goes down, then you're not prepared. I mean, it can't go down. So if it gets to that point, we have to be ready before that point. I mean,
Don't we have a backup system out here for dispatch?
I don't know if it
We
affects
do,
that.
don't we?
I don't know if it's fully up and running yet.
Yes, it is. It's fully up and running. Yeah, I thought so.
Is it one console?
One console, single operator.
But we still need to look at that and figure that out. I don't think it's gonna come from public safety. And there's not a huge reserve in 90-10, there's not enough to cover it, so it has to come from somewhere.
he's talking about does he have to get all, something about new radios or something? He thought that's $650 to $1 million.
Yeah, it was,
I don't know about that.
Remember?
it was, I mean, his letter,
His notes.
his email he sent out before the PSAT meeting.
Well, that needs to be starting to be budgeted for too then. That is significant. I was looking at the immediate needs for the next year. But we absolutely need to look and plan for if we're gonna have $750,000 to $1 million. That's why we just have to be extra cautious at dipping into the cash.
You want to adjourn?
I'll make a motion. You want, looking for a motion, I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Okay,
it.
motion by Keith, second by Gail to adjourn till tomorrow morning, 8:00 a.m. All in favor, say by saying aye. Motion carries 7-0.
Oh, I think it's just.
Be careful of them.
Figured out. You can interrupt.
Yeah. Stream this if you want to.
I will. You know it.
Just,
Maybe